Start streaming. Come on, man. Come on, man. Stream. Stream, motherfucker. Brew 12. Ah! Finally. Yes? Yes? Yes! Yes, hello. Okay, we're live, baby. So I already did this messed up thing. I don't know if the first seconds of this will record, but I've been live for like 4 minutes. Bam, push the button. Bam, unpush the button. Don't need to push the button today because I'm not actually brewing tea to drink today. I'm going to be getting my caffeine from yerba mate because this is day 3 of getting my caffeine primarily from yerba mate, and I'm just testing it out. It's a new form of, a different form of tea, caffeine, and stuff. I'm just trying to do things, you know? Hello, Mad Lad Fi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me get an idea informer up. Start a new one. Let's call it best breakfast foods. Actually, I'm gonna make this a polly because it's easier to make it a polly. It's just so much easier to make a poll.ly. T, your question. Best breakfast foods? Let's poll. Pow, 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 pow. I'm just gonna drop a couple. Oats. Eggs. Bacon. Done. Alright. And then, let me invite people. Copy link. Drop the link in the place with the thing on the thing. A pow. A bam. And then can I take this link and then can I pin this fucking comment? Pow! What's your workout split, my dude? Well, Hondo, we can talk about working out in a moment. I'll bring it there in a sec. I've definitely talked about it before, and I think if you look in the description of this, you'll find the basics as the Google document, and that contains something regarding working out. In fact, I need to go check the basics because I haven't checked it in like a couple days. Like a dumb. But in general, I go 3 times a week. I lift heavy. I do squat, bench, deadlift on one day and squat OHP row on another day. And generally that's it. I just go really heavy, and it's basically starting strength is the program that you can look for. If you type this into Google, starting strength 3 PDF. If you type that into Google and then you click the first link, it'll be from Doug Dower, I think. I'll actually ah! No! I spilled my drink all over my books. God damn it. I have caffeinated young Mr. Carl. He's gonna be so caffeinated. I'm gonna inhale yerba off of my desk now. Nom, nom, nom. Ah, nom, 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 nom. All right, this is stupid as fuck. Oh, I got an old shirt that I can use for the purpose. It's actually just a garbage shirt that is now a rag because it's all made of polyester. And it's so scratchy. It's so fucking scratchy. Such a piece of trash shirt. So sad. T turned into Mickey there for a second. Yep. Oh, no. Wait, which Mickey? Mickey Rourke? Mickey Rooney? Mickey Mouse? Mickey Mouse is a murderous monster. Just like the company that he represents. A murderous, horrifying monster. Okay, I was in the middle of pulling up the basics. So let me see. Let me see what we've got. We've got a couple of things. We've got, as far as suggestions, we've got a suggestion. Oh, wait, I can pull up the... Let me just show you this shit. How do I show you this shit? Is it this one? What does that pull up? That pulls the thing up. Okay, shite. So this pulls the thing up. I do want to... Can I... Transform. I hate this. Edit transform. Can I crop it right? By like 200 pixels. That did nothing. What? Oh, I see. Wham. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Yo, what's up, Jay? What's up, Yidna? What's up, people and folks? So let's see. We got a couple things. We got go to sleep as early as possible. Drink mostly water and lots of it. Eat enough whole foods. I'm actually gonna switch this, because I heard the thing. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Because I found a guy who's got that as his thing, and that's exactly right, man. I've been researching really heavily into gut microbiome, and like, oh my gosh, it's amazing how important it is for you to have a healthy set of microbes and stuff inside your bunghole, man. It's like it actually changes your entire everything. Meat greater than veg. I actually agree in terms of nutritional density, but that's actually a falsehood, and I've gone and done the research. And this, by the way, Cyberjoker is not coming from a fool. This is coming from somebody who has gone down that path into pure like meat consumption, ketogenic diets, carnivore, and gotten good results from it. I understand the values of it, and I think that you can effectively live off of a mostly meat diet depending on your genetic makeup, and also your, well, it seems, and also your gut microbiome. However, the evidence is that I've gone through is pretty clear that a lot of the benefit that people get from going carnivore or something like it is because they go from a standard, like westernized American-y diet with tons of processed foods to a mostly not processed food diet of meats. And that's really way better because at least they changed away from all the garbage. So that's huge. But if you were to transition to like a more Mediterranean diet, the diets that we know lead to the most health for individuals and lead to the longest living individuals, like the longest living people are still in that town in Italy and in Okinawa in Japan and elsewhere. And Okinawa is fucked because they don't have the ability to process certain types of starches effectively in the genetic makeup of native Okinawans. Anyway, it's all complicated. The point is, it's totally, I have no dietary restrictions that I'd put on you. I wouldn't say like don't eat this, don't eat that, except like processed foods and high density sugars and stuff. Well, don't eat those. They'll fuck you up. Actually, candy bad. But in terms of like be a vegan and don't eat any meat, I don't think that's necessary or necessarily a good idea. And I don't think that all the arguments about doing that for the good of the planet really line up. I just don't think that those arguments line up. And I don't think that meat production is inherently wrong or evil. I do think that meat production is full of like there's a lot of meat with a lot of stuff in it, with cows that are not very healthy or happy, and you're eating their being, and you're incorporating all the parts of them that aren't either very healthy or very happy. And the same goes for chickens and a lot of the industrially processed meats. It just seems like not the best, but meat is extraordinarily food and nutrient dense and extraordinarily like rather inexpensive in its current form, given the amazing and magical process of industrialization. So again, I have nothing against eating meat, but I am going to, for the next couple of months, I'm going to change my diet, and it's going to be as I change to doing not meal prep, not like paid for meal prep, but prepping my own meals, and I'm going to move toward a largely plant-focused diet, just to see how it goes, with some bits of high quality meat and some bits of fish and some bits of poultry mixed in, but mostly I'm going to aim to get the like 95+% of my calories from plant-based sources. And we'll see how it goes. Like, this could fail. I'm not stuck on this. I haven't tried it. I don't know what it does to me, but it might change my life in a good way, in which case then I can tell you about it, because I think it might. Was vegetarian for a year and a half, didn't feel good. Absolutely. And I think that the issue is that when we say vegetarian or vegan and we're talking about the restrictions that you put on yourself, that doesn't indicate that you're necessarily eating healthily. You're just cutting out meat from your diet. That doesn't fix your diet, right? That doesn't fix what you're eating. Because if you're eating enough, like, seriously high quality whole foods, sprouts and beans and grains and tons of vegetables and lots of whole foods and oils and like good fatty nutrients and nuts, it seems like that kind of a diet works really well for a large portion of the population. Not everyone, but a large portion of the population. So is eating salad every day healthy? I don't fucking know. It depends on what's in the salad, man. It fully depends on what's in the salad and what else are you eating. if you're eating nothing but salad every day, and it's like a bland ass salad of like iceberg lettuce with some sprinkled dressing all over it, that's probably not that healthy. You're probably not getting enough nutrients, or let alone enough calories. Like, the problem with plant-based foods is that they're relatively low calorie. Right, veggies, but there are a bajillion veggies, and they are not created equal. That's the problem. Like, but again, I'm not stuck on any of this stuff. I'm just experimenting. If you were to eat iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, and carrots every day, you would do terribly. You would do terribly if you didn't eat a lot of other stuff, frankly. Like, you just wouldn't. First off, you'd be, even if you ate a ton of it, you'd be way below your calorie level. Like, no chance that you get into your calorie intake. Yeah, you were right, was way too young to properly rework my diet. That's the thing, is like, you need to understand diet. Cyber Joker, does it balance with junk food? No, it never works that way. It never works like, oh, I ate a salad, now I can eat a donut and it'll all balance out. The donut is poison and the salad is just maintenance. Like, it's like, does breathing fresh air make it okay for me to breathe in toxic chemicals? And the answer is no. The answer is no. You can breathe fresh air all day, and then you take one whiff of enough toxic chemicals, and it kills you immediately. Immediately, right? Now, junk food doesn't kill you immediately. It just kills you slowly, right? So eating the salad doesn't balance it out. You've got to cut the junk food out. You got to understand, and more importantly, you got to understand what is food. And that's the biggest problem, and the biggest question is, like, what is food? Because some things are food and some things aren't, and sometimes they sit right next to each other on the supermarket shelf, and you can't tell the difference. It's like peanut butter. I really mean this with peanut butter. Right next to each other in the supermarket that I go to is Laura Scudder's peanut butter, which contains peanuts and salt. And right next to it, for the same price, for the same size jar, is Jif or Skippy, which contains peanuts, hydrogenated sunflower or palm oil, sugar, salt, and other additives and preservatives to keep it to be a particular texture and to make sure that the oil doesn't separate. When you take a scoop of the one and of the Jif stuff and you eat it, it's not food compared to the other one. And I've done this with a couple of my friends where they're like, but my peanut butter's fine. I like my peanut butter. I'm like, okay, try this and then try that. And they'll try the like real peanut butter and they'll go, whoa, that's different. And then they'll try the other one and go, I don't want that anymore. I just don't want it anymore. It doesn't taste right. It's like candy. It's like if you take a bite of like a really good chocolate, like a See's candy truffle or a chocolate, and then you try to take a bite of a Hershey's chocolate bar, you're gonna spit it out. Or, well, you're probably not gonna spit it out because it's still sugar and fat and stuff and you still like it, but it's not the same at all. It's not the same at all. And so food, what is food, is the question, and it has to do with the level of processing and the level of non-food products that have been put into it to make it a thing. And unfortunately, your body is really bad at determining these. And the marketers and advertisers and creators of these food products are really, really good at manipulating you. It's called the bliss point. It's called the bliss point in food. Here, I'll just pull it up. The bliss point is the amount of an ingredient such as salt, sugar, or fat, which optimizes deliciousness in the form of food products. Since Howard Moskowitz, in a while ago, talking about soft drinks or fatty foods or chips or whatnot. And the bliss point is the point at which your brain and endorphins and dopamine go, ooh, yeah, I like that a lot. Ooh, yeah, I like that a lot. So it's like when you bite into a McDonald's burger, that burger has been like scientifically optimized to make you go, to get you that moment of, you know? Adam Raguesa's recipe videos. I heard you're going to start meal prepping. I think you'd like his science-based approach. Sick, dude. Let me check it out literally right now. I am capable of checking this out literally right now because I have the power of the internet. This is not actually this person's channel, okay?
Given that this is a
not what I want at all. Adam Rauguswe. Batuhan Durman, I will tell you exactly what I think about cheap breakfast foods in 1 moment. I have also put up a poll that should be pinned here on the Polly. I wonder if anybody's coming and getting into it. Oh, sick. People are coming and getting into it. Great. Chad Cockman has put cock as the best breakfast food. Okay, Chad Cockman. Fine, sure. Egg whites on toast with ham. Nice. Cinnamon porridge. Yeah, I agree. Kellogg's and toasts with marmalade and a cup of almond milk. I don't mind it, honestly. Honey over peanut butter. I do like that. I do like that quite a bit. I don't like the sugar early in the morning, but I do like the I like the peanut butter, man. I don't hate that at all. Okay. Batuhan Durman. So I've got Adam Arguesa here. Hold on. I was told you that I was going to look at this person. Hello, Piertuk. The shocking secret to great chili, industry, immigrants, straight pizza, how we cook with different things, how to do eggs pretty simply. Yeah, this is a ton of stuff. How to do a Thanksgiving turkey, basic science-based breakfasts and stuff. This is very good. This is very good. Cyberjoker, what the fuck? I don't know what to eat at this point. Reasonable. A reasonable thing to deal with. I don't know where the best source for information for that is, for the basics. But basic whole food plant-centered diet. Okay, so I don't know if this is a good article, all right? I'm just pulling it up. But this is for Cyberjoker, okay? There are many arguments about which diet is best for you. Yes, there goddamn are. This is by Jillian Kubala, MSRD. So the problem is that having a doctorate or any sort of mastery in terms of nutrition science doesn't mean shit, because there are a whole bunch of terrible trash tier unaccredited institutions that give out accreditation like this, and frankly, our nutrition science is so bad that you can get accredited in bad taste. You can get an accredited animal products. I would say limit. I'm not interested in avoiding them. I don't care to avoid them. It doesn't seem to matter much to me. What matters is getting more vegetables and fruits in your diet. Focuses on plants, including vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts, which should make up the majority of what you eat. So let's go through that. What do we mean by vegetables? Well, we mean all of the leafy stuff, and when I say vegetables, I specifically mean cruciferous vegetables. So cruciferous vegetables, let me pull that up. Cruciferous vegetables. Pow. Cruciferous vegetables are a diverse group. They're all the I would think of them as like crunchy and stringy. Crunchy, stringy vegetables. Cabbage, kale, broccoli, kohlrabi, cauliflower, bok choy, watercress, radish, broccolini, turnips, rutabaga, Brussels sprouts. Any of the stuff that's like dense. It's fibrous, right? It's got fibers through it and it's fibery. Bok choy, arugula, collard greens, kale. These things are the cruciferous vegetables that I would say are like, you need a bunch of these just for nutrients and fiber. These matter, as far as I know. Okay, fruits. You want low sugar, high nutritional density fruits, or low glycemic index. Glycemic index fruits. 10 low glycemic index fruits. Great. So these are fruits that their sugars break down slowly. Okay. So cherries are awesome. Dark cherries, oh my god, so many polyphenols, so many valuable fruit and stuff. Grapefruit, apricots, pears, apples, oranges, plums, strawberries, peaches, grapes. My favorites are actually berries. My favorite foods of any food are berries. Blueberries, wild blueberries especially, raspberries, blackberries, boysenberries, elderberries, berries, tiny little nutrient capsules made for us by plants. They're the bomb diggity dog. And I mostly get them by blending them up in smoothies. I throw them into a smoothie and I eat smoothies. I have a protein shake smoothie after my workouts. So I eat a big smoothie with kale, black cherries, strawberries, and a bunch of other delicious things. Okay, so fruits, low glycemic index fruits. Whole grains. Why whole grains? Because again, there's more fiber to them, and so they digest more slowly, and so they have a lower glycemic index. I really like barley. I like barley and quinoa. I like brown rice, but not the best. Like black rice, I really like, or wild rice with multiple grain types and styles. Hi, Zolonix. Good morning. And other whole grains, barley, rye, etc., etc. Those are all really good. Wheat and wheat bran are great if you tolerate gluten. Some people do, some people don't. I, as far as I know, tolerate gluten moderately well. I'm still going to try at one point phasing gluten out of my diet to see if it improves my life, but I think I tolerate it moderately well, so I won't recommend to everybody like, oh, go gluten-free, because I don't give a shit. I think that it's worth checking for yourself whether eliminating all wheat products from your diet for a couple of weeks changes your life, because it might change your life. Buckwheat is awesome and is used so much in Japan for that reason. Buckwheat is fantastic. Buckwheat, barley, other whole grains. You know what they are. They're whole grains. And if you can get products that are made with grains, that are made with more whole grains, then get those. So if you can get a bread that's made with more whole grains than it is made with partial grains, get that. Legumes or beans. This is pretty simple. All sorts of beans are really good. You can get them. They're cheap as fuck, honestly. Whether you're getting them pre-cooked or not. Being gluten intolerant in 2022, shake my head. Some people are gluten intolerant every day, man. What are you gonna do? Legumes or beans. I went to the store today, or the other day, not today. I went to the store the other day on Friday, to go and get just a couple of things, get some milk, some peanut butter, and I went down all the aisles to check some of the stuff for meal prep for what I'm going to start doing in the next couple of weeks is to be prepping my meals. So I need to be buying food products. And it's like a bag of dry beans this big, enough bag, at Zolonics. K Health. There you go. That's the one that I have used. I don't know if it's the best. But a full bag of mixed beans with like 12 different kinds of different colored beans in it, so tons of nutritional density, for making soup was $2. $2 for what would be at least a week's worth of like full bean-based food, right? So $2 for that, a couple bucks for a bag of rice, and a few different vegetables to cook up and mix up. You cook all of that up, put it in tubs, and I'm basically gonna put 7 tubs of that into my fridge and make up a meal that's based on beans and whole grains and vegetables and some seeds and some olive oil and maybe some olives themselves and other stuff. And all that shit. This is reminding me that I still got to try sun butter. Is that just sunflower seed butter? Yeah, it's just sunflower seed butter. That's good. Yeah, try it. Give it a shot. Different nut butters are solid. Different seeds are cool. They work. They work. Okay, hold on. I did tell Batuhan Derman. I did tell you that I was going to tell you about a cheap breakfast idea. Oats, man. Oats. OATS, oats. Oats are the best breakfast food, as far as I know, or they're up there. A simple oat porridge. And you can get any kind of oats. It doesn't matter if they're steel cut or they're rolled or whatever. But here's the thing. I'll just show you. These are steel cut oats. So they're cut like this. So they're most of the whole oat, right? Because the oat looks like a rice grain, and then it gets chopped up by the processing so that water can get into it, because it's got a hard germ, a hard shell around it. So you got to chop it up. And then there are rolled oats too, which they're just pressed through a roller. But when you roll oats, you lose some of the bran. You lose some of the fiber in the grain. And they lose a lot more. Importantly, they lose a lot of their texture. They lose a lot of their texture when you roll them out, because you're smashing them. You're rolling them out. And so rolled oats end up getting like kind of gunky faster. Steel cut oats are cheap as balls. Like really, really good steel cut oats buy. Okay. Amazon, Bob's Red Mill, these guys. The Bob's Red Mill steel cut oats. This is 4 24-ounce bags of steel cut oats. Okay, each bag should last you a couple of weeks. 4 bags is $26. Okay? These are larger than pound bags of oats, okay? Each bag has how many servings in it? 15. Each bag has about 15 servings of a solid breakfast. Okay? So $26 times 15 times 4. Or I should do 15 times 4. is 30, 60, right? So that's 60 servings divided by $24. So it's $2.50 maximum per serving. It should be way less, honestly. And is that actually the right price? Yeah, $10. I eat oat porridge quite often. It's great for breakfast and fast to cook. Exactly. Yeah. You can literally just take this stuff, put water in it in a big bowl, put it in the microwave, and you're done. That's it. You just put it in the microwave and you're done. But then here's the thing. Here's what you do to turn it into something amazing, to turn it awesome. You take some real peanut butter and you put about a teaspoon or about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons into the oats. You can mix them in as much as you want. You put 2 tablespoons of peanut butter in. That's like another 200 calories almost of high quality fats and high quality food to keep you going throughout the day. And then you take some frozen berries. I like frozen blueberries because they're really small, and so they melt very quickly. So I take the really hot oats that are like way too hot to eat, and I pour in like a handful's worth of frozen blueberries, and I just mix them up really fast. And then the cold blueberries cool the oats down, and the hot oats warm the blueberries up, and it's immediately edible. So then I got my blue ass blueberry oats, and I put a spoonful of peanut butter on them. So I've got this like nutty, berry-y, fresh, and also dark tasting, multifaceted, high fiber, low FODMAP, low glycemic index, high protein, high fat meal, and it's fan-fucking-tastic. It's absolutely glorious. A little bit of peanut butter, a little bit of frozen berries in your oatmeal. That will give you a real cheap, real effective breakfast that takes about less than 5 minutes to really put together, because it takes a couple of minutes to microwave the oats, and that's about it. That's all the time that you take. And you can get all of the blueberries and the peanut butter and everything prepped while everything else is microwaving, and then you just throw it all together when it's done, and chow, man, just chow. Just eat it up. And then if you want to add to that, if you want to get more calories or more nutritional density in your breakfast, I would do a glass of milk or some kind of plant-based milk, which I'm going to be moving toward. Soy, oat, rice, almond, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Or milk, I don't care, again, with some protein powder in it. Okay? So now you've got a high fiber carb source in the beginning of the day, a fat source that's high quality, and on to some more protein. Batuhan, I understand. Here's what I would say. The oats that I just showed you are like the most expensive oats in the world. Okay, so Batuhan, those are like the most expensive oats in the world. If you go to your local marketplace, you'll be able to find probably bulk oats that will be way cheaper. We're talking like dollars per pound of bulk oats. Let me see, actually. Just near me. Buy bulk oats, steel cut. How about that? Steel cut oats bulk. Oh, yeah, man. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you'll be able to get in Turkey, okay? I don't know what you'll be able to get in Turkey, but this is 6 pounds of oats for $30. Here. This is me looking at bulk, okay? This one is 6 pounds of oats for $30. This one is 25 pounds of oats for $65. I'll bet, and here's 7 pounds for $25. Okay, oats don't have to be that expensive, not at all. And if I go not steel cut, so if you get rolled oats, so like the standard Quaker oats, this is 90 servings for $16. Seriously, actually. So let's do the math on that, because that's way less. So, and they're really cheap in Turkey. Good. So that should be 17 cents a serving. Okay, you feel me? You feel me, Batuhan? 17 cents a serving. Now we're getting closer to the territory of the tortillas that you're eating, right? But instead of the tortilla, which is just like straight carbs that'll get you going, but just barely, the oats will actually keep you going for like an hour or two, like for some time, for some real morning, and hold you out and hold you full as your body slowly digests that fiber and the protein and all the other things that are in it. That'll hold you out until you make it to lunch. And you'll find that you won't get as hungry as fast, and you won't get as irritable as fast as you get hungry during the day. So it's really an investment into your well-being to eat something that sits in your stomach and does well for you. For example, like my breakfast every morning is a protein shake, and I'm gonna have to change it because it's milk-based, but it's whole milk, a scoop of protein powder, Optimum Nutrition Whey, and a large spoonful of peanut butter. And it's like 380 calories. It's mostly protein and fat, and it keeps me full all morning so that I can get my recording done. It's baller. It's so good. I also haven't taken all my vitamins, so I'm really glad that you looked it up and you can get them cheap in Turkey. I really recommend that you try it. Just give it a shot, and don't buy bulk immediately, okay? Buy like a small serving, so that, you know, like a week's worth or whatever, so that you can afford it and you can try it and you can find out if you absolutely hate it, because you might, and that's reasonable. I don't mind. But give it a shot and see if it changes the way that you feel, and maybe it'll be worth it, and maybe it'll be less expensive than your damn tortillas too. Okay. Okay. So back to the article about whole food plant-based diets. Whole grains, legumes, which are beans, seeds and nuts. I love seeds and nuts. I eat them a lot. I eat a lot of products that are made with seeds and nuts. For example, oh no, am I out of these? Oh no, okay. There we go. Hoo-yah. You are very welcome, Batuhan. I hope that it does well. I hope that it does well for you. We'll see. For example, these are like treats. These are like candy or snacks. I don't eat these a lot, but they're like treats. So these are little Aussie bites. I got these because they were on sale at my supermarket, and they're really good. Rolled oats, oat flour, unsalted butter, expeller pressed canola oil. I don't like the canola oil, but who cares? Dried apricots, sugar, raisins, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, shredded coconut, quinoa, chia seeds, salt, baking soda, vanilla flavor. Okay, so a bunch of seeds, chia seeds, quinoa, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, bunch of good seeds. These are paleo bars from the same place, same idea. These come from Universal Bakery is the place, which it's got to be nearby-ish. These contain organic whole almonds, organic honey, organic shredded coconut, pumpkin seeds, coconut oil, Brazil nuts, pumpkin seed protein, chia seeds, cinnamon, sea salt, and vanilla extract. And these are dank too. So these are 230 calories for the bar, and the box of bars costs like $10. So it's like a month. It's like a month's worth of pretty solid bar snacks that are all made of seeds and oil, and they're a good snack, man. Seeds and nuts. And peanut butter. I eat a lot of peanut butter, which should make up the majority of what you eat. Damn right. Excludes refined foods like added sugars, white flour, and processed oils. Right. So processed oil is bad. Processed sugar is bad, including even just sugary foods like honey is processed sugar. It's just processed by bees instead of being processed by humans. It's just very processed. And so when we say processed, what we mean is easily available. We mean that it goes into your body, and your body goes, nom, 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 and just eats it up immediately, and it's gone, right? And so when you do that to your body, you spike your insulin levels, you spike your blood sugar really hard, and then you crash right out of it immediately after, and it doesn't feel very good. But when you eat those processed sugars, your body has to either use them immediately in terms of, so if you take a bunch of dextrose or a bunch of sugar right before you work out or you run, great, you're going to burn it immediately. Your body will, instead of burning your reserves of food, of surplus stores, it'll burn the sugars that you ate immediately. Are polls a new routine for the live stream? Seems like a great way to get a conversation going. It's just an experiment, but yeah, it seems like it works, right? It seems cool. I'll go back to the poll in a second to see what people talk about breakfast foods. It does seem like a cool idea, I think, and a way to generate conversation. But processed foods are more easily available. Processed fats are more easily available to you and more easily convertible to energy. And so that's bad, actually, because you want You want your body to work really hard to convert its food to energy. You want it to be putting in the work, because that slows it down and makes you feel better. Good morning, Capybara. Oh, I see. I got it. Okay. Reasons to do this. It can definitely help improve your health. That's not, I don't care. It benefits a number of health conditions. Yep. Yeah, like seriously heart disease. Really, really heart disease. Unless you eat sugary drinks and fruit juices. I wonder what are not processed sugars. Jan Nikovsky, the answer is complex carbohydrates are non-processed sugars. So like fibrous foods or potatoes that have starches. Let's do this. Hi. Look, this is molecular starch. Starch is a molecule, a different kind. Starches are molecules of linked glucose. Glucose, all up in a chain, okay? And then formed into these long chain polymolecules like this. So for your body to go and get the sugar that's a part of the starch that's in potatoes or rice or whatever, it has to break up all these chains, okay? And breaking up all the chains requires energy itself. So you burn energy to get the energy, and so you don't get as much immediate energy. When you just give yourself pure individual glucose, pure glucose rings, you pop these into your body, pop, your body uses them up immediately and doesn't have to do any work to get it. So it's like you're sort of treating your body like it's a child, and you can treat your body like it's a spoiled child, right? And just be like, yes, child, you can have whatever you want, whenever you want. You can have all the tasty fats that you want, all the simple sugars that you want. Go, child, have all these things, and your body will become spoiled. It will want more and more, first off. It'll want more sugar all the time, because that's what happens to spoiled kids when you give them whatever they want. And it will want more and more, and it will get lazy, and it will get entitled, and it will get stupid, and your body will be an asshole to you, and it'll be a spoiled brat. But if you make your body work for its allowance, essentially, right? You say, no, okay, body, you deserve to have an allowance. You deserve to have a certain portion of your foods, of food of all sorts, so that you can do well. But I'm going to make you work for it. You have to work by getting into this like sweet potato. You have to get your calories, your glucose from this potato, or from this rice, or from this other like complicated carbohydrate source. You have to get your food value from there. Your body goes, no, I don't want to, because it's a spoiled brat that just wants sugar. But it actually makes your body better. And your body has less cravings, is more ascetic, really, is more capable of going without sugary foods for longer. And your need to take them or need to intake them goes away, because you're eating the good stuff. A rich, multifaceted diet decreases Alzheimer's and cognitive decline, effectively manages diabetes. So these are the core things that you're facing as a human being. As a human being in this world, if you eat the way that most of the people around you eat, you're going to be facing these problems. You're going to be facing heart disease, cancer, your brain is going to decline, and you're going to get diabetes. If you change your diet up and you eat whole foods, as far as I can tell, and I don't care about them being plant-based, but a lot of plants, you can avoid some of the risk of some of those things, which is quite valuable. So what do you eat? Fruit, berries, citrus, fruits, pears, peaches, pineapples, bananas. Vegetables, kale, spinach, tomatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, asparagus, peppers, yeah. Starchy vegetables, right, exactly. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, squash, whole grains, brown rice, rolled oats, farro, quinoa, brown rice pasta, barley. I also found, I found a lentil pasta that has a crazy protein level for pasta, so I'm going to get some. Whole grains, healthy fats, avocados, olive oil, unsweetened coconut. I'd also say peanut butter and nuts, but we've got those down in here. Those give you fats as well. Legumes, peas, chickpeas, lentils, peanuts, black beans, etc. I'd also say soybeans are probably good. Having done a little bit of research, I'm not too worried about the estrogenic phytoestrogens that are in soybeans. They don't seem to cause many problems. I'm much more worried about the xenoestrogenic capabilities of like plastics and parabens. Much scarier to me than soy. Holy shit. And then what have we got? Unsweetened plant-based milks, coconut, almond, cashew milk. Yep, fair enough. Spices, herbs, and seasonings. Easy peasy. Condiments, salsa, mustard, nutritional yeast, soy sauce, vinegar, lemon juice, etc. I fucking love nutritional yeast. That stuff is great. Feeling the change in my sense of taste whenever I have too much processed sugar for too long is honestly depressing. It's like losing the ability to taste cool, subtle flavors. That's really interesting. I don't know if I've ever really experienced that, but I suppose I definitely lose a lot when I eat some trash. Yeah, Nikovsky, yeah, makes sense. I feel a lot better when my meals are 3 times a day on the regular, but that pizza, man. Well, that's two sort of separate things, right? Yeah, one is the dietary scheduling and and planning out your meals when you're going to eat, and that has a lot to do with your circadian rhythm and your overall rhythm. Like if you eat regularly, you will sleep regularly. They go together, as long as you don't auto fuck yourself. They go together. They go hand in hand. But that pizza, man, yeah. So that's the issue, is that those cravings for certain types of foods will pop up all the time, and I don't necessarily know exactly how to fix those, but I do know for me that the way to prevent those is to preempt them. And I don't get cravings. I just don't get food cravings in general because I'm mostly satiated most of the time. That is to say, I eat enough. The way to stop myself from eating too much is to eat enough, not too little. Like enough. And I think it's the biggest diet advice that you can give somebody who's trying to cut food, right? Who's trying to really cut down food. And somebody, people who are fat and they know it, who are overweight and they know it, and they're trying to cut their weight and they know it and they can't deal with the cravings. What they're usually doing is they're usually not eating enough. Usually they need about for example, they might need 3,000 calories a day because they weigh 280 pounds, right? They weigh 280 pounds, so they need 3,000 calories a day to just maintain. And they're eating like 1,600 because that's what they've been told they should do for a diet, right? Like 1,600 calories to lose weight. And that's not it, because what happens is they start out their day eating not enough, and then the craving hits and it overwhelms them because your animal brain is way stronger than you are. It overwhelms them and they binge and they eat the rest of their 3,000 plus calories, and then they go above and beyond and eat way more. But what would happen is if they ate a hearty, filling breakfast, right? Like the oat breakfast that we just talked about. 500 solid calories, right? Minimum 500 solid calories of slow digesting, high protein, high nutritional density foods. If you eat enough, you won't get hungry for another 4 hours, right? And so what you do is you plan so that you eat again 3.5 hours from now. If you're going to get hungry in 4 hours, you eat your next meal 3.5 hours from the first meal so that you eat before you're hungry. Okay? And then you never get hungry and you never get cravings. Done. It just fixes your life. Okay. I don't eat much much pizza, for example. And pizza, for example, is like 1 a year, and I still don't lose weight. Your overall diet is not where it needs to be, Razor TH, and you don't know how many calories you're actually consuming. That's the answer. If you would like to actually change your diet, count your calories. Go use Chronometer. It's like this. Chronometer. Download that. It's available on both iOS and Android, and it's free as far as I know, and I use it and it's quite good. I don't need to use it anymore because I mostly know how much calories things are at this point. Like I've done the meal counting long enough to be able to eyeball my foods. But I'm going to start doing it again because I'm going to be switching my dietary plan and my regime. And so I want to be careful to make sure that I'm getting enough macro and micronutrients when I switch to a different dietary plan. Jan Nikovsky. It is very hard for me to properly restrict myself because every person in life who did that ended up with severe eating disorders. Yeah, that's because the attitude is... it's not the most useful attitude. The restrictive attitude isn't the most useful attitude. The opposite idea is the more useful idea. And that idea is something like this, Jan. The idea is something like this. If you eat, you can eat as much as you want, literally as much as you want, of like peanut butter, plant-based protein sources, vegetables, nut butters, and low glycemic index fruits and like good starchy carbohydrates. You can have as much sweet potatoes and potatoes in whatever form you want with as much olive oil on it as you find delicious, with avocados and peas and beans and fucking sprouts and all sorts of shit. I don't care what it is. You can have as much of it as you want. As much as you want. Because here's the deal. If you eat high fiber foods, your ability to consume enough calories to actually make yourself overweight it's almost impossible. It's really hard. It's really hard just because of the size of the food. It's physically a lot of food. And so if you eat enough of this stuff, and you eat as much as you want of this stuff, you're not going to want anything else because you're going to be full all the time. And you're going to be happy full all the time. And your gut's going to be churning and like going properly, and your gut microbiome will be proper. Yeah. I tried counting calories, but I usually eat meals shared with others, so it's hard to eyeball it. I tried eating already made portions, and that was better in a way, but I can't do that every time. T, this is kind of unrelated, but did you trim your brow? Kind of look like a Yu-Gi-Oh character. First off, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean like my eyebrows, or do you mean my brow line? I don't know what you mean. Either way, the answer is no. I don't do anything in general to my like any like plucking or primping or preening or any of that. I am learning to take care of my skin and face better. And I have once in a while, like I'll get one hair that grows out a little bit too long here that I'll pluck out, but that's it. I don't shape my brows or anything or anything like that. I do have pointy eyebrows, like oddly so, you know. This is the natural shape of my eyebrows, is that they're actually, if you notice it, a lot of people don't have eyebrows that are as pointy as mine. I have very pointy eyebrows. It's just the way that my body is built. It's the way I'm put together. It's hard to eyeball it. I tried eating already made portions, and that was better in a way, but I can't do that every time. Yeah, that's tough. Eating out is way harder. Eating out is way fucking harder, man. It's just tough. Because you're going places and you don't know what you're getting. But the thing that I would say is that if you count every time you make food, or every time that you eat something, and you just try to guesstimate it, right? If you guesstimate that like a fist size of meat is about a single serving of meat, like a 6 to 8 ounce serving of meat, and you go to a place and you get a chicken thing, and you figure that that's one serving of chicken, and then you get, you know, there's a serving of like some vegetables and a serving of rice with it, then just plug into Chronometer like a cup of rice, one serving of chicken, and some vegetables and maybe some sauce, and see where it sort of lines up and figure out sort of what you're eating. But when you're at home or you're cooking or whatever, use a food scale, use whatever, and figure out exactly what you can. Farm and JoJo references, are frozen meals and berries still healthy? As far as I'm aware, freezing fruits and foods generally doesn't decrease or destroy in any of their nutritional density. As far as I'm aware, in terms of the nutrition that we're able to judge and know. And part of the way that you know this, or that we know this, is that most microbiomes or microbiota, if you put them in the freezer and then you take them out of the freezer, they slow down a bunch and then they go back to life. Okay, right? They don't die. A lot of microbiota don't die in the freezer. So freezing meals and berries seems like it doesn't destroy proteins or destroy essential nutrients or anything, and it feels like you'd be able to do that. As far as I know, I do think that there might be the possibility for freezer burn to cause problems. Like, it seems like freezer burned foods lose something. There's something going on with like the lysing of the bacterias or whatever. But yeah, frozen vegetables and berries retain their vitamins and don't lose nothing. I use frozen fruit and berries and foods for all of my smoothies and stuff, and it's fantastic, right? Frankly, it's the best way that I know of to buy them because they don't spoil. Right? And so I can buy a big bag of berries and I don't have to worry about them going bad. Likewise, it's kind of hard in a way to get fresh, high quality fruit in some places, especially berries. Berries go bad really quickly, like raspberries and blackberries, especially. If you go to the aisle in any supermarket and you look at all the raspberries, there probably half of them have mold on them already, and so that's just kind of garbage. And also usually they're really preservatived and they're picked way too early so that they ripen in the container as they're waiting on the shelves, so that by the time that you buy them, they're not rotted, right? But they're semi-ripe. But that's not ideal. So if you buy from a good company that's freezing their berries, they're going to be picking them right on time, right when they're at their maximal nutritional density, and then immediately freezing them because they can save them forever, right? And then just ship them across the country or across the world, wherever they need to go. I eat a lot of Wyman's brand. This brand. Wyman's brand frozen fruit. They're from Maine. Is Wyman's, and they make these blends, right? That are 3-pound bags that cost about $12. So this is 3 pounds of fruit for about $12. They've got the triple berry, which is pretty good. I've had the mango berry, which I like quite a bit. It's pretty good. But this is the foundation of all of my stuff. The foundation of all my smoothies is cherry berry kale. Well, look at it. You can see exactly why. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. How can I? I can't show it to you. Okay, fine. Whatever. I can do this. Open image in new tab. Pow. This one. This one. That one. Okay. Cherry berry kale. The reason is because it's dark sweet cherries, wild blueberries, which are these tiny, dense blueberries, strawberries, and high-quality strawberries, and a bunch of super fine, flakes of kale, because they just take a bunch of kale leaves and they break them up, and they throw them in there. So what is this getting me? Cruciferous vegetables, an immense amount of antioxidants from the blueberries and the cherries and the strawberries, a huge amount of fiber, low sugar comparatively, and just the density of micronutrients and fiber and stuff that's in this stuff that I just sort of pour it into a blender and put some protein powder and some milk in there, and I'm done. Just like drink, done. No sweat, no chewing, no problem. Just like easy peasy. And again, these bags are like $12 to $15 for 3 pounds. And those 3 pounds, I share this stuff with 3 people, like myself and 2 of my roommates who come and lift with me. I share this stuff with them, and these bags last us like 2 weeks for our smoothies. It's such a no-brainer to me to eat these things, and I think frozen is totally fine. Okay, condiments. Nutritional yeast, soy sauce, vinegar, lemon juice, etc. Hell yes. Plant-based protein, sure, whatever you want. Plant-based protein sources or powders, absolutely. Beverages, coffee, tea, sparkling water, etc. Yeah, frozen food is fine as long as it's whole fresh food. I agree. I will jump off of that because you mentioned whole fresh food. Because Farm and Jojo references asked about frozen meals, and the answer for frozen meals is it varies greatly. It varies immensely. There are a huge number of like Lean Cuisine and Stouffer's meals that are garbage, that are absolute garbage, because they're pre-made, pre-processed, preservativified food, right? So they're barely food. Frozen whole food? Yeah, dog. Yes. Nickmer, also eat a lot of fermented foods. Your gut microbiome will love them. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that's not listed on here that needs to be. Kimchi, tempeh, miso, other soybean products. If you can get raw soy sauce, that's good, but miso covers that anyway. What else? Kombucha, which is fermented tea and juices, is fantastic. And I use it a lot. Active yogurts for lactobacillus, if you need those. But mostly the raw fermented, like overall fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, what other core fermented foods? Kefir, yeah. Kefir, sauerkraut, aged and raw cheeses, yep. Fermented pickles, natto, all sorts of stuff. Frozen meat loses a significant proportion of protein as far as there's no chance. There's no way. That simply doesn't make any sense. because the molecules don't break down. Like, protein denatures under heat. Freezing meat and... Okay, yeah. Hixar, I'm just going to hit you immediately with this. Freezing meat does not affect the nutritional value, period. It does not affect it. It's not correct. That is a myth. Kefir is amazing, yes. Sauerkraut with sausage and carrots. God, I want dinner already, lol. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Like a brat with some sauerkraut. Fuck, man. A good quality brat with some kraut and some onions. Super dank. Super dibbity dank. EU regulations make most frozen meals moderately healthy as long as it's not the cheapest options. I would believe it, absolutely. Like, there's nothing wrong with a meal that's like, oh, it's some pre-cooked rice, some pre-cooked vegetables, some pre-cooked meat with a sauce, and all you have to do is throw it in the microwave. Bet. Yeah, like, word. Do it. No sweat. Go for it, 100%. Noodles. I'm not a huge noodle fan. Because, again, they're more processed. I'd rather eat whole grains. Noodles keep you full for 30 minutes. Yep. That's exactly it. It's starchy, but it goes straight through you. Depending on what they're made of. Depending on what the noodles are made of. Because you can get high nutritional density noodles that are like super whole grain. That'll do it. They'll keep you full for longer. But straight pasta is just carb load. Boom, done. Pasta's really great for right before the gym. It's really, really great for that as far as I know. Really, really solid for that. Oh yeah, if you're supplementing your plant-based diet with animal products. So this is important because I'm going to mention this as part of this as well. I don't care if you eat animal products. I'm not an anti-animal thing. I fucking like animal products a lot. And in fact, something that I'd like to go and do within the next year or so is I would like to go and kill and butcher a few animals of different kinds and actively kill them myself. I'd just like to go and do it. It feels like it's just wrong that I've never gone and, killed a chicken. I think I should probably go and kill a chicken. It would also get me a little bit closer to the nature of death in general as a philosophical concept and a psychological one. But to go and kill a chicken or butcher a cow or butcher a goat or something like that and truly kill an animal and then eat the animal, that seems like the move. And it might be the restriction that I put on myself. It might be like, I will eat mostly plant-based products, and if I'm going to eat meat, I have to go somewhere and kill it. And it's like once every couple months, maximum. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that. It might be just silly. Anyway, I think that going and eating meat is good. I think meat can be really useful. And I have a suspicion that meat in particular, with the iron content in meat and the certain types of animal fats and proteins that are in meat, I think they're really necessary. The animal products, for general brain development. Especially for youngins, for chillins. And so I have a suspicion that plant-based parenting is a bad move. I actually think it's a really, really bad move. But I don't have the foundation to say this. It's just a suspicion or a hypothesis or a hunch. I think that children's brains need animal proteins and animal fats in order to develop most of the brain properly. Because as far as I can tell, our brain is an enormous electromagnet. And it's got like 5 pounds of magnetite in it. Not pounds, but it's got an immense amount of magnetite, which is like hematite. It's magnetic capability stuff. And as far as I can tell, we get most of that from fats and from animal proteins and iron. And so I think that having enough meat in you is important in a lot of ways. Okay, so I'll stop here and I'll say it to a bunch of people. Used to kill chicken and rabbits with the family when I was younger. Not that you need cheering, but you can do it. My grandma and her friends kill their chickens and remove everything. Damn right, and damn good. I'll bet they cook those bones for broth. I'll bet they keep it all. Did some searches on frozen meat. Looks like you're right. If it's frozen correctly, it doesn't lose anything. And amen, right? Like how rad is that? How good is that? If it's frozen correctly, it doesn't lose anything. That means having a good freezer and buying frozen food that's cheaper is a great way to go. My grandpa has a farm, done the whole farm to table many times myself. Chickens, turkeys, pigs, goats. That's awesome, Nickmer. And Matt says it might be easier to start with fish if you're planning to go through with the slaughtering idea. I have fished and killed fish. I have done that, and I'm quite okay with it. Fish suck. Fish suck, and they're dumb enough to hop into your boat and flop around, so they might as well get clubbed to death. I really don't care that much about fish. they just have there's no morality there. There's nothing there. Gin no Saji, it focuses on the morality of animal farming. Is that silver spoon? Gin is silver, right? Yeah, silver spoon. Okay. Made by the author of Fullmetal Alchemist. Yeah, I am aware of Gin no Saji. I have not seen it. And then let me scroll back up. What else was I talking about? I was going to talk about something else. Shite. Oh, I was talking about freezing. So that's actually something that I'll mention to you as something that I may do in the future if I don't phase out meat products in general. Here's what you should do if you have some money to spare and you'd like to eat well. Here's just an idea. If you like meat, here's an idea for how to eat meat effectively and inexpensively. Buy quarter cow. So all you need to do is I'm going to click block. I'm not going to let it access my location because I don't care. You just need to go buy quarter cow or buy half cow into Goggle. You can get a quarter cow from anywhere between $200 to $600, right around here. And if it's a really nice grass-fed cow, it might be more expensive and whatnot. But let's say this is a full finished cow for $800. There's one for $330. I don't know, or I guess a quarter beef is what it's called. Buy quarter beef. So here's Christensen Ranch. I don't know who this is. You can find whatever one of these you want. I'm not set for any. Dry aged for 14 days. You can add specialty cuts. Choose your steak thickness. How much beef will I receive? Our steers average 1,200 pounds. So for a quarter beef share, you will receive 80 to 110 pounds of beef, depending on the actual weight of the animal. So let's say your beef comes in at 90 pounds of beef, and you paid what? How much will it cost for a custom quarter share? $800. So it's about $8 a pound for high quality beef of all different varieties. So that ends up being the average cost, and some of it's lower because you're getting ground beef and and not the best steaks and roasts and stuff. But some of it's way higher because you're getting like fillets and like high quality meats and like specialty organ meats and stuff. But what you do is they just sell you this chunk of it and they ship it to you, and you can just put it all in a deep freezer and keep an immense amount of meat for, a year's worth of meat that you just did, because you get a quarter beef, and it's a lot of meat. It's all the meat that you would need for a while. It's just a thing that you can do. So once you know that you can freeze food, well, freeze food and buy it in bulk, and it's way cheaper and it's way more effective because you can, instead of going to the supermarket every week and buying your meat, you can just buy directly from the farm. Hope that power doesn't cut on that freezer, but this is probably a good thing. Yeah, obviously, things can happen. Shit can go wrong, but like overall, filling your freezer with a half a year's worth of meat twice a year is really good. Please get a good knife before you do this. I was in culinary school, and the people who didn't sharpen their knife had almost 30% less usable product than those who sharpened them. That's a very good idea, and that's a good note, which is that you should own a good chef's knife. Holy shit. Nobody owns good chef's knives. It's the stupidest thing in the world. Everybody needs to own a good knife. 2 of them. 3 of them. Different kinds. It's so important. It's so important. I mean, I know exactly which knife I would recommend to you. It's really quite easy. Quite easy, quite cheap. Let me tell you the best cheap knife that I know. It's a Victorinox. Nox chef knife. Oh, it's Knifey. It's the Fibrox. Yep, Victorinox 8-inch chef's knife. It will last you a lifetime and it's cheap. That's exactly the one. The Fibrox handle Victorinox chef's knives are, as far as I know, the best. My actual favorite knife is not the 8-inch, it's the 6-inch. Because I'm a small boy, and I like the additional flexibility and mobility that you can get from this knife. EC asks full tang. The Fibrox knives are not full tang. They're mostly tang, and that's good. It's good enough. It's fully good enough, and just don't sweat it. It doesn't matter. These are cheap knives. If you want to spend bajillions of dollars for an expensive knife that's full tang, then do that on your own, okay? But you can see that I bought one of these knives in August 16th, 2013. You can see that I bought this knife, Victorinox 6-inch Fibrox Pro Chef's knife, in 2013. I still have the knife. It's downstairs. It's sharp as balls. It's perfect. It is a perfect knife. I have the 8-inch knife as well, and it's just a little bit too big for me. It's still an excellent knife. An excellent blade. Cool looking knife. Basic looking knife, Jan. Really basic. Like the basic knife. The Santokus are really nice too, but I don't really care. The Pro 8-inch chef knife is nice. The 6-inch knife is the one that you want. Get a 6-inch Victorinox chef's knife. Easily done. Happy almost 10th year knife anniversary. Fucking thank you, dude. Thank you. Let me see. Here. And then there's another knife that you need, and this is a different product. This isn't for cooking. You need one of these. You need one of these. It's this. Pop. Pow. Okay? And you can see that the blade is actually fucked up. That's because I don't maintain it super well. Because it's carbon steel instead of stainless steel. This is a carbon steel knife. You can also see this blade. This blade is fucking thick. This blade is more than 1/8 of an inch thick as a blade. Your thoughts on ceramic knives? Have been using a couple of those for now. They're sharp, but they're not as easy to sharpen. I prefer steel. I significantly prefer steel. They can be nice and sharp. I don't mind ceramic knives, but if I'm going to be using a knife for a while, I prefer steel, always. And high quality steel. Swiss steel if I can get it. Victorinox, for example. This knife, this is a Mora knife, Morakniv. They make, as far as I know, the cheapest, best camping outdoors utility knives that you can get in the world. And they're cheap as fuck, and they're amazing. So let me show you. Mora Kniv, Kniv, knife, Mora knife. So Mora knife Craftline, Mora knife Companion, Mora knife Craftline Garberg, Companion Heavy Duty. I think this one is a Companion. I'm pretty sure, based on the thing, I'm pretty sure this is a Companion Heavy Duty is what I've got. So a $20 knife. Fixed blade, extra large hammer, 3.2 millimeter thick blade. 3.2 millimeter thick blade. Yes, sir. And then there's the Craftline Basic, which has has a little hook on the handle instead. And you can get the wood carving knives and whatnot, and those are nice too. And any of the Craftline knives, and that's cool too. Or you can get the floating one with the handle made of cork, which is kind of cool. Or the basic 511. Or the Cans Bowl, which has like a sharp tang and is more expensive. You know, it's got the wedge on the front, and it's more expensive. These knives are cheap as balls and fantastic, but this is the one that I would recommend, is the Heavy Duty Companion Mora knife, because it's so fucking thicky and so fucking lit and so fucking strong. Something that I do relatively frequently is we have a fire pit at my house. We have a fire pit. And months ago, I found somebody nearby who was selling cords of firewood, like large cords of firewood. And so I just bought a cord of firewood for really cheap and got it delivered. And we just have an immense stack of firewood that I paid for. But sometimes you want smaller chunks of firewood, not big chunks. And so we don't have an axe to split them with. Well, I take my Mora knife, I take this knife, and I put it down on the wood, and I take another piece of wood, and I go clunk, 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 and I use this knife to split wood, to literally split large logs, and it works just as well as anything else, and it's still sharp as balls, which is a thing to say about a knife, because when you use a knife and a hammer, you hammer a knife through a chunk of wood and it's still sharp, that says something about the knife. So get yourself a Mora knife there, and put it in your car, put it in your go bag if you have one, put it somewhere where you're gonna where if you are in need, if something goes wrong, if a flood hits, an earthquake, a riot, like something crazy goes on, you're gonna need a knife for cutting stuff, for scraping stuff, for cleaning stuff, for all sorts of reasons. You're going to need a good blade, and this is the one that I would recommend because it's inexpensive, and you can get a couple of them. Like, get 4, put one in your car, put one in your room, put one outside, and put one in your kitchen. Like, I don't care. Get a couple. They're good goddamn knives. Woo. Okay. Back to diet. Meats to eat. Eggs, pasture-raised when possible. Poultry, free-range, organic when possible. Absolutely. Beef and pork, pastured or grass-fed when possible. Seafood, wild-caught from sustainable fisheries when possible. Dairy, organic dairy products from pasture-raised animals whenever possible. I would also say that amongst these sort of are choosing the base meats, like the very basic things that we basically eat. I would say this. Eggs, pasture-raised when possible. Also, try to eat eggs of things that aren't chicken. So I mean fish eggs, like roe, eat fish roe and pokey or poke. Eat fish roe and quail eggs and other eggs, and like I don't know if you can get reptile eggs, but get those too. Get different kinds of eggs. Poultry, eat chicken, but also eat turkey, and also eat quail, and also eat, if you can get your hands on pheasant or other birds or other poultries, especially wild game animals, eat those. Get a variety, because all of those animals are a little bit different. Excuse me. Beef and pork, pastured or grass-fed when possible, but also, if you can get boar, or like boar jerky, or charcuterie or something, little bits of specialty boar, wild boar, instead of like farm-raised pigs. And I understand these things are expensive. These things are like the unique foods, and that's why I'm saying maybe you eat a little bit of special meat every couple weeks or whatever. You eat a little bit of something special to get some new nutrients. But also, when it says beef and pork, I would also say bison and buffalo and elk and moose and deer and venison and goat and sheep, mutton. If you're going to eat red meat, don't just eat one kind of red meat. Eat a couple different kinds of red meat. And first off, like, that might be healthier for you. It might. There's evidence to demonstrate that eating different kinds of meats and different kinds of animal meats, especially eating some like organ meats and organ products, can be pretty good for you. It's how the fully carnivore people are getting all their micronutrients, is they're getting them from organ meats from different animals. And it works. It actually works. So, well, you can supplement with some organ meats from different animals and some just different animal meats. So, whenever you go to an Indian restaurant, get lamb, because you can't usually get in Americas, in Western civilizations, Western cultures, you can't usually get lamb very cheaply or easily. But if you go and you buy lamb korma at an Indian restaurant, you've got lamb now. So have lamb every few weeks. Have some different foods, some different meats. It seems really viable and really valuable. Seafood, wild caught from sustainable fisheries when possible. Absolutely. A lot of people don't like fish, and fair enough. I mean, fine. It's just a food that some people don't like, but you're probably wrong to not like it, and you probably do actually like it. And if you were to eat some more of it and some high quality fish, you would grow to enjoy it quite a bit. And I would recommend going toward the Japanese route for this, because of all of the countries and all of the nations and all of the cultures in the world that eat fish, the one that is the most successful and has, as far as I know, like a lot of the best fish-based foods is Japan, because they know how to do their fucking fish, and they eat a lot of it raw, which is awesome. So if you like sushi, go eat sushi once every couple of weeks. Like, go eat sushi And don't get the fancy rolls with all the deep fried crunchies and whatnot. And Greece and Italy too, absolutely. But Greece and Italy are the more Mediterranean diet with a different thing. I'm thinking in terms of unique ways to eat fish. Greece and Italy, they do like carpaccio and stuff. But fish, man, fish is the shit. And sushi is the shit. So go to a sushi place. Don't get the rolls with all the crunchy stuff on them. Get like the chef's special nigiri. Because what you'll get is, nigiri is this stuff. Nigiri is this stuff. Nigiri is the bits of fresh fish over rice, and it's just that. That's all that's on the nigiri. Versus like a sushi roll. Right? A sushi roll is a roll. You know what a roll is, right? So a roll is one thing, and we get real fancy with our rolls, but you want sashimi and nigiri because your goal is to get little bits of as many different interesting kinds of fish as you can. And to eat some unagi, and to eat some roe, and to eat some tuna, and to eat some salmon, and to eat some shrimp, and to eat a bunch of different things, and just treat yourself every couple of weeks to a wide variety of fish-based calories. And just treat yourself a little bit, right? So wild-caught, sustainable fish, if you can get it, absolutely good idea. And then dairy products, organic dairy products from pasture-raised animals wherever possible. If you can't stomach lactose, then don't do this, because it'll just fuck you up too much. But if you can tolerate lactose, I can, for example, makes sense. I mean, my ethnic history is Scottish and French and then Russian, Polish like area. So peoples who have done milks and stuff for a while. So it makes sense that I would have the enzymes properly to digest milks and stuff. That. I can recommend salt curing salmon if you can get good fresh cuts. It's super easy. How to salt cure some salmon. Oh. It's crazy easy. Ooh. Oh. Interesting. BTW, the Patreon link in the description doesn't work. Oh, okay. I have to put the HTTPS and whatnot. Build-A-Wit says you can get lactase pills so you can eat dairy even if you have intolerances. I'm aware that you can. I don't know if those work extraordinarily well, but yeah. Japan, Greece, and Italy in the 84-ish years life expectancy might be the fish/seafood and vegetable-heavy diets. It's not actually a might. This is known. That is 100% known, Nickmer. We call them blue zones. It might be that. We call them blue zones. Blue zone diets are, well, this is a sales website essentially, so I'll go somewhere else. A blue zone diet is the Mediterranean diet, highly plant focused, with a moderate amount of high quality animal products and a large quantity of fish. But it's like 95% vegetables, fruit, grains, and legumes, and it's called the Mediterranean diet, literally around the Mediterranean. Or blue zones map. Bingo. There are only a few around. California, which is right where I am, by the way. I'm right here in Southern California. Costa Rica, down in here. Sardinia in Italy and that whole area. Greece over here. Okinawa and Japan over here. And those are the places where people live the longest and with the greatest health markers. And it's because of what they eat. 100%. Okay. How far into recording are we? We're like an hour? An hour 17. Cool. We'll get through this whole article and then I'll call it because I got recording to go and do. Foods to avoid. What do you want to get away from? Fast food, French fries, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, chicken nuggets. Right. Really, honestly, most foods that make you go, wow, yum, That's too much happy for you, man. It's too much happy. You're spoiling yourself. You don't need that much happy. What happens is if you actually restrain yourself from that much happy, you get happier everywhere else because you're not trying to seek out those big spikes. It's like how, dopaminergic drug addicts are usually depressed all the time and then they get on their drug and they're like, yay! Well, you're a dopaminergic food addict, okay? All of you are. If you're not really conscious of your diet, you're a food addict. You're close to it. And so your baseline is way lower than it should be in terms of all of your pleasure and all of your seeking and all of your joy. because you keep spiking yourself with the foodstuffs that you eat. And then, of course, that's part of one grand system, because you're also spiking yourself with the entertainment media that you consume, like high-density entertainment media, or doom-scrolling Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever. And then pornography and sexual content is spiking your dopaminergic systems again. So you're seeking this constant mountain, and what's happening is everywhere else in the entire world, all of the rest of your life feels like a deep, dark pit, because you want to be up on the mountain so bad that being at sea level feels like being in the deep dark pit. Make that big happy spike a once a week thing, and then a once a fortnight thing. Your body will thank you. I agree. There's nothing that I know that could indicate a problem with if you were to give yourself cheat days, like, and just say, I'm going to be really, really good. I'm going to be really, really good all fucking week. And then on Saturday, I can eat my favorite cake. I get one slice of my favorite cake on Saturdays. That's baller, right? Because what you're doing is you're saying, I will sacrifice my present happiness, my present joy, right? Or present pleasure, more honestly, because the present me wants to go and eat that delicious German chocolate cake. German chocolate cake is my favorite cake. Black Forest, dark chocolate, German chocolate cake blows my brains. Just orgasm, just come. For real. German chocolate cake blows my brains. So if I were like obsessed with that cake and I couldn't stop myself from eating it, one way that I could try to do that is I could say, okay, all week, every week, I'm not going to have any German chocolate cake, and then I get to have one slice of it on Saturdays. Then you get to have your one slice of cake on Saturdays. And so all week you're going, oh, I really want the cake, but I promised myself. And it's worth it, and so I'll hold off. And then on Saturday you get to, come explode, right? Like, yay. And what's odd is that you can do the exact same thing with your sexuality, right? You can withhold, you can abstain for a little while, and then the experience when you release and don't abstain anymore becomes much better, and you can form a more naturalistic cycle by doing that to some extent. So you do the exact same thing with your food consumption and turn your treats into treats. And that's something else that's really useful, you know? You know when you have a dog or a cat or something that you can to some extent train that animal based on the treats that they like, right? It's basic dog training is that you get a treat that the dog likes that's like, ooh, yum, tasty, yum, right? And then you get the dog to do a thing and give them a treat. And then you get the dog to do the thing again, and you give them a treat. And then you don't give them a treat until they do the thing again, and you tell them to do the thing, and you wait until they do the thing, and then you give them a treat. And you keep reinforcing the patterns with the treats. And you use the treats as a manipulation tool in order to manipulate the fundamental underlying dopaminergic reward systems of the animal. Well, guess what? You're a fucking animal, so here's what you know. You know that there are foods that are treats for you. What's your favorite food? Like, what's your actual favorite thing in the whole world where it's like, it's a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. It's a bag of delicious salty fries. It's a bag of chips, or like whatever it is. Or it's like a C's chocolate candy, or like a high quality dark chocolate truffle, right? And I would think when you think about your favorites, I'd think of something really quality, something really good, something interesting, and maybe hard to get. You know, a delicacy. Something that's a delicacy that's like, wow, a really high quality like fruit tart is like my favorite thing, or like a berry tart, or like a lemon bar, right? So that's one thing for me. Lemon bars hit me top to bottom. If there's a lemon bar near me, you better watch out, because I'm going to destroy that thing. They're so buttery and sugary and salty and sweet and lemony and delicious, right? And so I could take my mom's home cooking, absolutely. So I could take a lemon bar and I could say, that's my treat. If I get all of my videos recorded for this week, for example, then on Friday I get to eat a lemon bar. Okay? Something like that. And that could be very useful for manipulating me. And then over the course of a couple of weeks or months, I basically dog Pavlov myself and go, oh, good boy, you did all your work this week? Oh, good little buddy, you get a treat. Lemon bar. And you create like a reinforcement pattern. And then eventually you can separate out the actual reward from the pattern. The pattern of behavior is there now, and you don't have to keep reinforcing it with the treat. And so you can just phase out the treat completely and just eat lemon bars kind of when you want, which is less often now, because you've already broken the addiction to them. It's just a perfect way of doing it, I think. Anyway, How to manipulate tea. Tell him to record videos and you'll send him lemon bars. Yep, totally. Probably shawarma and doner for me. Dude, doner kebabs are no joke, man. No fucking joke. Some good rotisserie-ified lamb and meat, man, that'll get you. Especially with a good tzatziki and like a good cucumbery and oniony mix of vegetables in there. Fuck, and a good pita. It's got to be a good flatbread. It's got to be all done right. Like all the layers have to be together. There's a relatively good shawarma and gyro place near me that I don't hate at all. That has some good stuff. Added sugars and sweets. This is the big one. And the biggest one here is soda and juice. Soda and juice and sweet tea and stuff. You really gotta be away from the sugars. And I think the biggest and fastest and easiest way to fix this that I know of is don't drink stuff that isn't water. He says as he drinks something that isn't water. But let me tell you what's in this. I'll tell you what's in this. Sparkling purified water, organic brewed yerba mate, which is tea, organic lime juice, lime extract, yerba mate extract, lemon flavor, caffeine. That's what's in here. It's just sparkling water, a little bit of lemon juice, and some tea. Regardless, you should drink mostly water. Mostly water and like milk products. So milk or soy milk or rice milk or almond milk or hemp milk or whatever the fuck you're eating. I don't give a shit. But like water, tea, milk products. Bildewit says, I only drink water and alcohol. Very, very well. I will say that I'm leaning into learning about alcohol's effect on the gut microbiome, and it seems real bad. But if you drink low concentration alcohol and not too much of it, not too frequently, it seems way better. And also, I'm convinced, I'm really convinced that high quality, unfiltered, and if possible, live fermented or secondarily fermented, where they've got a live fermentation in the bottle, beers are extremely valuable. And I think little bits of good, well-fermented wines for the catechins are also quite valuable. There are a lot of postbiotics and prebiotic products, as well as polyphenols and complicated plant things that that are really good for you. The problem is that the alcohol that's in the alcohol is literally poison for you. And so if you can get those things from elsewhere, you should. But there are some things that I think you can only get from alcohol products. And again, I'm a huge intrigue. I've got a lot of intrigue into extremely yeasty old school beer. Because I think it actually affects our brains in fundamentally valuable ways. But I don't know. I'm just testing it. Refined grains, white rice, white pasta, white bread, bagels. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be eating refined grains. I'm gonna be eating white rice to some extent, and I don't mind too much. But it is a natural white rice, and so that's fine. And I'll be eating it for the purpose of like before I work out, so that I have easily accessible, low breakdown starches. Avoid packaged and convenience foods. Chips, crackers, cereal bars, frozen dinners, etc. Malt liquor? Yeah, malt liquor as well. Probably not the worst thing in the world, as long as it's not hyper-processed. Like, if you were getting unfiltered, raw, fermented malt liquor, that might be a little bit of a different product. Packaged and convenience foods, chips, crackers, cereal bars, frozen dinners. Yeah, that's the problem, is going for easy things, quick things. And so figuring out, and this is the thing that I have to figure out, and I haven't figured it out yet, figuring out a bunch of things to have around in the pantry and in the fridge and elsewhere, so that every time that I'm hungry for anything in particular, I have something that I can just grab that's within my dietary parameters that I can just eat. So having the paleo bars or whatever, because these are like 230 calories of fats and nuts and seeds is what's in here. That's perfect, because that's like a grab and goable that instead of being cookies or something garbage is something that's only mostly garbage. And most of the garbage that's in here is just because it's high calorie, and that's actually what I want because I'm trying to put on weight, not lose it. Right? So having things around that are viable and valuable, having a fridge that's full of fruit, having pre-made meal prepped meals that I make one day a week, and I think it's going to be on Sundays, that I make one day a week and then I'm set for the rest of the week is the kind of thing to do. Because when you're hungry and you don't have something easy to get, it's really easy to pull up delivery and just be like, yes, hello, can I get a large pizza, please? Fuck my shit up, bro. Fuck my shit up, fam. And that's not what you want. What you want is that you want the easiest way, the easiest environmental pattern to be the thing that is best for you. And so when the easiest thing for me to do when I'm hungry is to go downstairs, grab a pre-made meal, throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and then eat it, that's the easiest thing that I can do. It's easier and faster than calling or buying delivery. It's easier and faster than microwaving a shitty frozen meal. It's easier and faster in every possible way, and it's the right thing that's best for me. So if I can get those things aligned, then everything becomes easier, because whenever I have a food craving or a hunger craving, the best thing for me to do is also the most optimal and most expedient thing for me to do. So if you can take all the things that you know are good for you and make them also the most expedient and quick thing for you, you don't have to make those decisions anymore, and there's no tension or friction, which is fantastic. Just fantastic. Okay, processed vegan-friendly foods. So this is actually really important. It says avoid this. And this is what I see a lot of people doing when they go plant-based or vegan. They eat all this stuff. Plant-based meats like tofurkey, faux cheeses, and vegan butters. Avoid those. I asked my roommate, because I was mentioning, hey, I think I'm going to transition to trying a mostly plant-focused diet soon, just to test it for myself. And he went, oh, I did that for a while. It fucked me up, man. And I was like, okay, so wait, what did you do for a while? And he said, well, I ate vegan for a while, and it fucked me up, man. I'm like, okay, what did you eat? And he said, oh, like vegan burger patties and veggie burgers and veggie tofurkey and like all these vegan-specific products. And immediately I'm like, well, that's why. That's what happened. What you did is you tried to eat a bunch of replacement products instead of eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. And so similar to somebody that I was talking to earlier, it's like he didn't have enough nutritional understanding to actually pivot his diet into veganism. And so what he did is he bought the most easy and expedient vegan options, and they destroyed his gut because he wasn't capable of processing them, because they're kind of trash actually. So that's the idea. So stay away from the processed vegan-friendly foods. You don't need them. Stay away from artificial sweeteners if you can. Equal, Splenda, Sweet and Low, etc. Yeah, fair enough. There's a good amount of evidence that artificial sweeteners do something to your body that's similar to spiking insulin, in that your body doesn't really differentiate between them and sugars, but they're way better than actually taking sugars. So take stevia. Use stevia. It works great. And monk fruit extract works great. Those are great. And processed animal products, bacon, lunch meats, sausage, beef jerky, etc. I think this one's true. However, I also think this immensely depends on how they are processed and what they have in them. If they've got preservatives and phthalates and bullshit in them, then fuck off, right? But if you can get some like high quality, high fat beef biltong, right? Some like air dried beef jerkies, do it, right? Or like some really high quality prosciutto, do it. Or like an Iberico ham, like an expensive, well-aged ham. Do it. Eat it. Like, fuck yeah. Awesome. Little bits of those meat products aren't going to kill you, I don't think. At least not quickly. And they're delicious. Same thing with bacon. If you can get some like solid, either well-cured without preservatives other than salts, or uncured bacon, that can do good things for you. And there's nothing wrong with, it's pork fat. It's pork fatty fatback, right? Like, nothing wrong with it, I don't think. It's just, I mean, it's a lot of it is going to be murder on your arteries, but if you're already eating a mostly plant-based diet, it's not going to be enough to hurt your arteries. So get some of that. Or if you're going to get sausage, there are some really good sausage makers. Who use high quality meat products, and especially the parts of the meat products that aren't going to make a lot of money or be super saleable on their own. You can turn those into sausages and put them with a bunch of spices and extra fat and other things, and turn them into real effective food value that you can actually get cheaper than the other meat products. And as far as I can tell, it'll actually be better for you in some ways, even though it's more processed, right? It's just who's doing the processing and how are they doing the processing. If you can find a local sausage place that does like sausages from organ meats and sausages from various leftover meats from butchery, specifically, if you can find a butcher, your butcher makes sausage, because your butcher or has a friend who they sell their stuff to who makes sausage, because they're going to end up with a bunch of stuff that they can't sell as steaks or sell as high value products. And you take all that shit and you make it into sausage. And that stuff actually has great nutritional density too. So isn't that cool? Foods to minimize: beef, pork, sheep, game meats, poultry, eggs, dairy, seafood. Right. You're trying to avoid to minimize them, and that's fair. Oatmeal made with coconut milk, topped with berries, coconut, and walnuts. Awesome. Large salad with fresh vegetables, chickpeas, avocado, pumpkin seeds, and goat cheese. Awesome. So this is what we're talking about. A salad where it's just one type of vegetable or three types of vegetables. That ain't it. A large salad topped with a bunch of fresh vegetables, a bunch of chickpeas for proteins, some avocado for fats, some seeds for some other fats and nutrients, some goat cheese and some other things to give you some additional flavor and some texture and some taste. Yes. Butternut squash curry. Yes. Full flat yogurt topped with sliced strawberries, coconut and pumpkin seeds. Excellent. A chili with beans and stuff. Excellent. Sweet potato and black bean tacos. Awesome. A smoothie made with unsweetened coconut milk, berries, peanut butter, and unsweetened plant-based protein powder. Fair enough. Hummus and veggie wrap. Sure. Excuse me. As an American, have you ever tried black currants, one of the staple fruits in the UK, but till very recently illegal in the US due to pine disease? Also has the best taste for sweets. I have had blackcurrant. I've had blackcurrant jelly. I wasn't aware about it being illegal in the US. What's up with that? Blackcurrant illegal. They were thought to produce a fungus, and so they started to lift the ban in 2003. Yeah, blackcurrants are great. Currants in general are great. They're a great food. All right, so roasted this, roasted that, messed with this, messed with that. I think this is a damn good article, actually. Having read this article, this is a damn good article. And so I'm going to go grab the basics. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And I'm just going to put this right there. And let me drop the link. Grab this, insert link, pow. Squat, bench, deadlift, squat, OHP, row. We've got this. And then let me do this as well for this, because it's important. Yeah, this. Basic fitness primer. Starting strength. Hello, Samyak Dar Tuladar. I am doing well. I'm doing well as fuck. So that takes us to Doug Dollar, and let me just see. If I click here, redirecting to file not downloaded, potential security risk. Yeah, that's totally fine. Allow download. Yep, that's the download. That's the file. Excellent. And so that pops up. Yep, that pops up, and that's the full Starting Strength 3 PDF by the Asgard Company. Sorry, Ripito, selling your shit. Did my comment get removed? Lol, it was a meme from a video about a Greek and a Turk debating. I don't know. I didn't remove it. YouTube will hold comments for review if they contain links, for example, or certain words. So you got to just go through your comment and make sure that it doesn't contain a link or certain words that might be something else, and we'll see. Let me check the now that we finished that, let me check the poll that I put up at the beginning of the stream. Come on, Polly. Come on, Polly. Let's go. And let's see what we got. We got eggs is the top one. Hell yeah. Eggs are the bomb diggity dog. Cock. You know what? It is part of a healthy breakfast. Absolutely. If you need some dick as your breakfast, go find some, like no shade, just get that weekly dose or that daily dose of vitamin D. Oats. Look, oats are the shit. I talked about this earlier. If you missed that portion, me figuring it out for our Turkish friend is like, that's some good sauce. Get some oats. They're cheap and effective. Bacon. I like bacon. Menemen? What even is this? Oh, shit. What the fuck? Oh, that's rad as fuck, bro. This is like huevos rancheros. Huevos rancheros. Huevos rancheros is, well, it's eggs, tortillas, and salsa, right? You use a fried corn tortilla. Steel cut oats are goated. They are goated. So this is huevos rancheros. You do eggs with some like some light cheese, a tomato-based sauce, a salsa, and some corn tortillas. These are fucking awesome, right? This is a classic Hispanic meal that should be eaten all the time. And look, the Turkish country has tomatoes, eggs, and things. Exactly, Nickmer. Every culture has the tomato plus eggs and things, and this is exactly it. This is just a scrambled egg with in one pan with some cool extra stuff. This is like, that is a top tier breakfast. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't mind eating a fair quantity of eggs, which does bad stuff to some people don't process or tolerate eggs very well. In fact, I don't tolerate eggs very well. My life has improved since I removed eggs largely from my diet, which is very unfortunate because I like eggs, and I do think that eggs are probably the cheapest effective source of whole food protein that I know of is chicken eggs. They're like $3 for a dozen eggs. Cheaper if you get shitty eggs, more expensive if you get better eggs, right? But a couple bucks for a dozen eggs is real food value for a long time. It's powerful sauce. Same, I'm not allergic, but eggs make me feel very nauseous. Yeah, absolutely. Some people don't tolerate them very well, and in different ways. They're a complicated compound. They've got a lot of stuff in them, and it'll mess with you. Yeah, dude, the Menemen looks really good. I'm definitely gonna try that. So thank you to Culeres for mentioning that one. Kellogg's / toasts with marmalade and a cup of almond milk. This is pretty solid. This is some kind of toast, so some kind of, like, I would assume a wheat-based carbohydrate or a whole grain-based carbohydrate, toasted. And there's something else, which is that toasting bread actually, to some extent, I've read this somewhere, it changes the nutrient profile slightly, just slightly. And makes it a little bit more bioavailable to you. Just toast your bread a little bit. It doesn't have to be hot. It doesn't have to be blackened. In fact, you shouldn't be blackening it. So just a little bit, right? And a cup of almond milk. Awesome. Yeah. All of the things. Quail eggs are great too. I believe it. Bread with jam or Nutella. I don't like this one. Sorry. Omelet with grated cheese. Why not? Boiled eggs with cheese. Classic. Cinnamon porridge. Pão de queijo. I don't know. This seems like Portuguese. Brazilian cheese bread. Yes, that's Portuguese. I have had these. These are awesome. They like, whoop, they just disappear. And they all have, they're made mostly like only with Parmesan, right? And cheese and stuff. What's in them? Whole milk, butter, oil, tapioca flour, salt, and a bunch of cheese. Amazing. Amazing. And they're super fluffy and buttery and light. Those are really good. My mom just straight up pukes 3 minutes after she eats eggs. Has no reaction when it's dissolved in other things. That's really interesting that that's the case. Very odd. Farina? What is farina? Oh, it's cream. It's flour milled. So it's wheat middlings or germ, which are milled to a fine consistency. So this is essentially yeah, it's hot wheat cereal. So we would call this cereal. What is it? Grits. It would be essentially grits. Hot wheat cereal. Need a pull for food that people cannot stand. Yeah, I'll get there. Cream of wheat. This stuff. Okay, so it's cream of wheat. But cream of rice actually is the better stuff because wheat has gluten problems, right? So some people don't. You can get cream of wheat too if you tolerate gluten. I don't care, but everybody seems to be able to tolerate cream of rice. This stuff is the same as like the oats idea. It's grits. It's just creamy porridge that you can make. And when you get cheap ass cream of rice, God, how cheap is cream of rice for bodybuilding? It's so cheap. Cream of rice or rice pudding with some cinnamon. Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. 14 ounces pack of 12. Holy shit. And all it's got in it is granulated rice and some vitamins. That's all that's in it. Um 45 grams. I don't know how many servings. Cream, let me just see. Buy cream of rice bulk. Reminds me of semolina porridge. Yeah, same idea. Same idea. Absolutely. Cream of rice hot cereal, 14 ounce, 12 per case. 14 ounces each, 12 packs per case. What I want to know is how many servings are in each one. It's 0.25 cups. Ah, 9 per container. 9 servings per container. So then... Nine servings, 14 containers. That's 126 servings. So 51 divided by 126. So that's 40 cents a serving. 40 cents per serving. Not bad. Not bad. I cannot eat cereals for breakfast for some reason. I'm always hungry just 10 minutes after eating it, no matter how much is eaten. And I'm a thin person who barely eats in the first place. Yeah, the carbohydrates and the sugars, Kikuri, this is what's going on. The simple sugars that you're getting from the breakfast cereals are going into you and going out of you immediately. Like, you burn them, you're burning them like that. They're gone. You spike your insulin and then it drops. It's just like what happens when you eat, if you eat some candy, you'll get an energy rush and then you'll crash, right? You can see this in little kids, right? If you give a kid a bottle of juice, he'll go, he'll drink up all the sugar, and then for the next half hour, he's going to be bouncing off the walls, just running around, freaking out, burning through all that energy, and then the kid's going to pass the fuck out. And about 30 minutes after, as the kid passes the fuck out, he's going to be hungry again, and he's going to want something to eat to get that sugar rush back up, right? To get the sugar rush back up. So that's what's going on with your cereal. Here's what you can do. Switch to a higher fiber cereal. Actually, that's it. Switch to like bran flakes or like oats or like cream of rice or something like that, where it's higher fiber and it digests more slowly, and you won't get hungry as fast. Binkelderg, where'd you get all that nutrition knowledge from? Research, man. I've been trying to fix my nutrition for years. I don't know how this shit works. It's complicated. It's like the most complicated thing in the world is to take care of your body. So where did I get this nutrition from? This is what happens when you align yourself toward a goal. My goal is to be the best that I can be, okay? Because I have another goal. Being the best that I can be is one underlying chunk of my other goal. My bigger goal is to slay contempt for being and to share light and truth and peace with the world, okay? Those are my real goals. In order to do that, I want to be as effective as possible. Okay? And being as effective as possible means fixing all the things about me that aren't effective. So that means going ahead and fixing my diet, fixing my food, fixing my movement, fixing my schedule, fixing my timing, fixing my sleep, fixing my workout, fixing my body, turning myself into something awesome, into something brilliant and capable. So basically become enlightened. Yes. Yeah, what the fuck else am I going to do with my life? T wants to become a Buddha. Yes. Well, don't you? Do you not? Do you want to be suffering in suffering for forever? And that brings us to something else, which is like, okay, so where does all the religious knowledge come from? And it's like, well, first off, my dad is a spiritual religious genius who is also a shaman who has seen through truth and has tried to teach a lot of it to me. A lot of that is bounced off. But I've also taken an immense amount of courses and classes and stuff on Buddhism and on Zen and on myths and on legends and mythologies. Do you know Sadhguru? No. Yogi, mystic, best-selling author and poet, absolute clarity of perception. Yeah, fair enough. I don't care. I don't care about these. I don't care about religious leading individuals because, frankly, they're never going to reach the masses. That's the issue, is that a religious mindset is never going to reach anyone because we live in an anti-religious rationalist world. And so you have to have a rationalist mindset going in and use that rationalist mindset to connect with rational people. The problem is that rationalism in general seems to lead toward nihilism as like an inevitability because you can very quickly rationally dismiss all religions and spiritualism and myth without much of a problem. And so a lot of, as far as I can tell, rationalism and contempt for being go hand in hand. When you dive deep into the one, you get closer to the other. And you start being capable of unpacking and tearing apart all of the underlying fundamentals of ways of being that are taught to you, and that's not very helpful. So what I want to do is to structure rational reasons to be in certain ways, both physically and spiritually and psychologically and mentally. And a lot of those rational things come from the irrational and the inarticulate in stories. I mean, he's more spiritual and has reached the masses, at least in India. I get that. I totally get that. Here's the issue that I see. I would say that active nihilism, existentialism is better than passive nihilism. Existentialism and active nihilism are not the same thing. Neither is positive nihilism. And I disagree with you fundamentally. And while I agree that it's better than passive nihilism, because anything is, it's not the way to go either. It doesn't help. The dismissal of meaning or truth or ultimate truth is just false. One needs the spiritual side of things to reconnect with the intuitive meaning of life. Yes, but people are unwilling to go there without having a rational basis for doing so. Like if you don't have a way to say this is scientifically backed and provable and useful, if you don't have that as a way, then you're genuinely fucked. What do I think of absurdism? I'm not a huge scholar of Camus and the general absurdist movement, but I think it's accurate. I think that the idea that we live in fundamental chaos and that life is itself truly insane is a great framework for looking at things and for understanding things. I don't mind absurdism as a concept at all. And if I'm misinterpreting an absurdism, and I know that I am, then forgive me. I don't mind it. I like it quite a bit, but it's not complete. It's just a partial idea. And it doesn't give you a very good basis for how to then act in the world, right? Because absurdism, along with positive nihilism, kind of say they say like, well, nothing matters, so you can do whatever you want, and that frees you, and that's really cool. Like, great, that frees you, and that does free you, but freedom is the worst restraint, because you come up against the wall of freedom, and you're like, well, I could do anything, and that means you can do nothing. Or like, everything is important means nothing is important, or nothing is important means nothing is important. Whatever it is, it doesn't work. So you have to, I think you need a better framework. What do you think your belief system is? No. Nope, that's not a thing to do. I don't have a label for it. There's no chance. The true and frank answer is that my belief system is so much more complicated than any of the labels that people put on belief systems, that to do so in order to try to explain it to you would lead to more misinterpretation than otherwise. That's what I would say. Because I did write this down oddly for a Tinder bio at one point. This was before I hypersexualized my Tinder, which I did recently, and by the way, it works. Crazy. But I wrote down a thing that I was talking about my belief system in this. So one way that I would explain my belief system is that a lot of people are pro-rights, a lot of people are pro-guns, a lot of people are pro-choice or pro-life. I am protagonist. That's what I am. That's my belief system. My belief system is actually based fundamentally in the shonen protagonist. That's my belief system. My belief system is Aangianism, like Aang from the last Avatar. My belief system is Narutoism, like Naruto. My belief system is, well, fuck Ichigo, but Bleachism if you want to. Or Kimetsu no Yaiba-ism. Or Devilman-ism. Those are my belief systems. That's what I believe. But my real belief system is Gurren Lagannism, is Communism, is Communation. Yours is the drill that will pierce the heavens. Believe in the me that believes in you. Shut up and grit your teeth. That's what a drill does. Turn by turn, we move forward. Like step forward into the unknown. Mine is the drill that will pierce the heavens. Those are my beliefs. And then Killianism, which is that there's the dualistic non-dual scissor that slices the world and is the sort of truth that we use to differentiate reality from fiction as we move forward into understanding of truth. And also you cover yourself in culture, and culture armors you and makes you strong and sturdies you against the rest of the world. Okay. But I'll just show you. So this is, oh god, you can't see it. Yeah, okay, there, you can sort of see it. You can sort of see it. You can see that I've got emojis all through it. So all the emojis are symbols of different stuff. And I'll just tell you what this says. It says, I am a radically principled, awakened, masculine, Taoist, Buddhist, Christian, atheist, humanist, psychonaut, shaman, striving on the winding, narrow path between enlightenment and insanity. Because that's how I see myself. So let's go over those again. Radically principled means that I follow principles. Those principles are essentially honesty and ownership and responsibility. But those are some radical principles to have in a modern world where people dismiss ownership and honesty and responsibility. And so I'm a radically principled, awakened, and I say awakened because I am awake, man. I am fucking awake. And I mean that seriously. There are a lot of people who are fully asleep, and I don't just mean that they're sheeple, or I'm not trying to be dismissive. I mean, I am awake, and I have been for a long time, but I'm more awake than ever. And a large part of that is psychedelic use, and a larger part of that is just things coming together that are true about the world. So I'm an awakened masculine because I've identified myself as masculine. I am male, and I believe it, and I know it. Down to my core, top to bottom, head to toe, I am male. In every possible way. And that was not true a year ago. I wasn't sure. And I think it's quite possible that I could have aligned myself in a feminine direction because my feminine side is strong and in balance. Or it was out of balance, and now it is in balance. But as is, I am male. Taoist, because my fundamental beliefs can be structured and summed up by the Tao Te Ching pretty easily. I think the Tao is great. The Tao hits me hard, and it's got all the things about as concisely as they can get. So, Taoist. Buddhist, because I have a huge background in Buddhist theology. Both taught to me by people who only partly understood it, and taught to me by like very experienced, high quality professors. Because I took a number of classes in university on Buddhism specifically, and cultural beliefs and religious beliefs. So I believe in those. I'm also, I did at one point put in my profile that I was really seeking a cute brown girl to teach me anything about Hinduism or Sikhism, because I really need to understand those as well, because I just don't, and I would very much like to understand them. But anyway, Buddhist, that goes in there too. Christian, because I am Christian as well, in no way in a religious sense. In absolutely zero religious sense. But I think that the book is real helpful. And I mean the Judeo-Christian book. I have Jewish heritage, and so I'm familiar deeply with the Jewish myths. And my father has Christian heritage, and so I'm familiar deeply with the Christian myths. And now that I have been able to step back away from them and see them as mythologies, as explanations and explorations of different ways of being, then I can't help but agree with almost all the tenets of the myths. That said, there are some flaws in those myths and some like restrictive elements that are just wrong. Like there's good reason that Christ in those stories is the friend to prostitutes and murderers and thieves. It's because that's what we need, and we don't have enough of it. And the Christian right has, at least in my country, has forgotten that, has forgotten about compassion as the core element of their religion. And that's a problem, because it should be the core element of their religion, or at least of their way of being. Again, I am not a I am not a religious Christian. Kularis writes, is being a sheeple even a bad thing? Yes, I would like to just copy whatever others are doing. I don't like making decisions about myself or anything else anyway. You're a coward. The reason you don't like making decisions is because you're afraid of failure. You're a coward, Kularis. And I'm not sorry for saying it. Fix your shit. Step into the unknown. Dive in, get hurt. And yeah, copy what other people are doing. You know, there have been billions of people who have lived on this planet, and all of them have faced down the exact same struggles that you have, which are that existence is hard to make justified. But copy the people who are succeeding and the people who aren't being sheeple, who are awake. Be a sheep of them. If you're gonna be a sheep, find a good goddamn shepherd and be a sheep of that shepherd. But try to be a shepherd instead. I would have swiped right. Sounds like a ton of fun. Yeah, I believe it. I'll switch up my profile soon. Currently my profile is very sexual, like very directly douchebaggy. You know, all the things that you're not supposed to do, like shirtless pics, show off your body, speak sexually directly and immediately, all of those things. I started doing those, and they do the exact opposite. They work great. They work wonderfully. It helps that I'm hot. Frankly, it helps that I've got abs and a relatively nice body, you know? Have you ever read The Wheel of Time? Many deep and important human themes there. I am aware. I know I had a friend who read the whole Wheel of Time series while he was rooming with me, but I don't know. Would you say that ideologies like communism and capitalism are today's religions? They show you an ideal version of the world and says that what you need to do in order to get there. No, because those ideologies, first off, you're using the word wrong. That's not what ideology means. Ideologies are fractions of ideals or fractions of whole faiths. Fractions of a faith or a religion is a complete system that determines all of the ways of being, fractalized out from basic axiomatic principles for the individual and for ways of being that then determine the way that a society structures itself. So communism and capitalism aren't ideologies. Marxism is an ideology. Nazism is an ideology. Fascism is an ideology. Trumpism is an ideology. All cops are bad or all cops are bastards is an ideological pursuit. A lot of the activist movements are founded in ideologies. Anti-climate change movements, like the Just Stop Oil people who just recently threw a bunch of tomato soup against priceless works of art across the world in incredible museums. Those are ideologies. They show you an ideal version of the world and it says what you need to do in order to get there. That's actually not what the communist or capitalist or similar ideologies, as you say, or they're really social philosophies or social theories. That's not what they do. What they do is they say the way the world is now is bad. Fix the way that the world is now, right? They don't say here's an ideal world. This is what we're striving toward. They say the current world is shit. Fix it. And that's very, very different. Would I say that they are today's religions? No, it's the cultural groups and the cultural identities that are today's religions. The greatest religions that I see that are in power today are the religion of nothing matters is a big one. That's a huge one. It's the religion of sex and drugs and ignore everything, seek dopamine. It's nothing matters, so just fuck your life away. It's when you see people who are like, I'm seeking my joy and that's all I'm doing. It's like, okay, great. What about pain? Because there's pain in the world and you aren't seeking enough of it. So those are the religions of the world that I see. I see activism as a pretty major religion. There are a lot of seriously religious activist individuals. And it scares me because they're ideologues and demagogues, and highly activist. And there's the ideology of traditionalism as well, or the religion of traditionalism, which is a huge one, which is keep everything the same, worship the structures that exist. You know, like you get a lot of constitutional worship in the United States, for example. A lot of people on the right seek out conservatives or mention or talk of conservative ideas as like the things that exist are holy. They are sacred and sacrosanct. So the structures of our society are holy and sacrosanct. The Second Amendment is sacrosanct. And so we must worship on the God of guns, right? And we must worship on the God of the rules that we've put out. And we must worship the Constitution. And that's a more religious idea as well. And it's a functional one because honestly, worshiping the system that you're a part of is not a bad idea, but it does mean that the system becomes sacred and uncriticizable. And there are some pretty legitimate criticisms that can be levied against the freedom to own firearms, for example, in the United States. Seems to maybe not be the best thing in the entire world, but maybe it is. I don't fucking know. But there are arguments about it, and the people who are on that sort of religious bent about it go, no, there can be no dispute about these things, for they are holy scripture. And that is just false. It's like, well, no, that's false. Okay, so let me go down here. Years ago, I started my religious journey searching for a rather true religion, and I think I finally found it, honestly. I've never felt this much contentment in my life, ever. I really suggest everyone do their own religious journey and actually test each religion until they find the true one. That's a huge element. When you just saying that you believe in a thing doesn't do anything. You have to embody it. That is, you have to act out its precepts and see if they work. Seek joy long term, not just for the moment. Kikuri Rinon says, I have never found a religion that cannot have its parts broken down and explained with modern knowledge. So many things in these religious books are easily explained through medical diagnoses, etc., which is why I believe in zero religions. Okay, this is a faulty perspective. You're not wrong. Yes, a lot of these things can be explicated, but what you're saying is they can be explicated in a way that takes the magic out of them. And I'd like to say that it's the exact opposite. As we find out more about the rational world, what we find is that there are good rational bases for having systems and of irrational beliefs. So that is to say, believing in fairy tales makes you a better human. Because the belief in fairy tales is something akin to the belief that you can change the world, or that the world could be different than it is now. So your religion should be all religions. That's the religion. The religion is for hundreds and hundreds, for thousands of years, humans have been trying to articulate the inarticulate nature of reality via art and spiritualist language, to say that there is something beyond what we know, beyond what we can explain, and we call that God or gods and stuff. And for thousands of years, we have written down as best as we can stories that demonstrate real fundamental truths about the universe that are beyond our comprehension, and we have called them religions, and we have faith in them because we know that they are true. So the scientific single religious perspective that you should have that will align your whole spiritual life is the concept that spiritualism and religions as a search, as a process of thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of humans over the course of history trying to seek out what works. Okay? And what has happened is, evolutionarily over time, the ones that have worked have structured societies around them that survived. So the base Christian religion took over the globe in a lot of ways. The base Hindu religion took over the globe in a lot of ways. The base Buddhist religion took over the globe in a lot of ways. Why? Well, because they teach individual human beings a way of being that's functional. And so if you go and you just study those and you figure out what have humans been doing for hundreds of thousands of years collectively that works, you now see the value in religion, because they're just stories about how to be. I don't believe in any god or metaphysical being or whatever, but religions have a ton of useful things to teach us. We should take what's useful from them for sure. Absolutely. I believe in art of others and my own. I try at least. I agree, Jan Nivosky. In my days at uni, we started with 6 Muslims and 10 Christians in our course. Come the discussion on evolution, all 6 Muslims dropped the course and refused to listen. See, that's the bullshit. See, that's some wrong sauce, right? That's wrong sauce. But here's the deal. The Christians stayed and now drop their beliefs. That's what I find really interesting. Evolution as a process and principle should not devalue the beliefs that fundamentally underlie Christianity. There's a really good way to explain like the least articulate, most inexplicable stories in the Bible. For example, the Genesis stories. There's a really effective scientific evolutionary way to express those. Here's what it is. It is, we are monkeys in the trees who don't understand anything, and that is the state of the Garden of Eden. We are unaware of our own impending death. That is, we're not self-conscious. We're unaware of our vulnerability, and so we live in paradise. Okay? So what happens to the monkey? Well, the female monkeys gather more fruit, and the male monkeys go out foraging for more things as well. Eventually, the female monkeys gain better visual acuity, especially in the differentiation of color. And this is literally true of human beings, is that we literally are women, by and large, it's a broad bell curve, broad strokes, right? But women literally have better visual acuity for determining colors than men do. It's part of why women care so much about fashion, color, and art and design and stuff more frequently than men, partly because we socially put them in those directions, but women read color patterns better than we do. Why? Why do they read color patterns better than men do? It's so that they can find fruit. Okay. And then it is the snake and the fruit that cause us to be cast out of our garden of unknowledge, of lack of understanding. The fruit, because our visual acuity goes up and we can see more fruits. And then snakes, because snakes drove our visual acuity as well for both males and females. Our ability to recognize patterns of snakes versus sticks is what we use as our recognition system for all predators and all enemies and all obstacles. So we gained the systems for determining what is food and what is useful, and we gained the systems for determining what is bad and what is not useful, and for recognizing the patterns of the two. When you have those two things together, you start to gain the knowledge of good and evil, you might say. Good things and bad things. And as you know that, and as a couple of other incredibly powerful developments occurred to our brain, we woke up. And what I mean by woke up is we became conscious of our own mortality and existence. And when you become conscious of your own mortality and existence, you become conscious of your own vulnerability. And so, what does the Bible's story say? It says that man and woman immediately after taking and eating the fruit, which is given to them by the temptation of the snake, they eat the fruit and they realize that they are naked and they cover themselves. They cover themselves because they're vulnerable. That is a rational evolutionary perspective on what the stories of Genesis, which make no sense whatsoever, mean. You got a couple of people made from dirt in the garden of paradise, and they eat a fruit and get thrown out of the garden forever. That's a fucking stupid story. That's some bullshit. That's dumb as fuck, right? Like, why? Who cares? That's so stupid. Oh, what if it's not literal? What if it's a figurative understanding of the deep biological truths of our awakening in evolutionary consciousness? Oh, then you can see it as a mythologized framework for the evolution of human thought and consciousness and being. And that's way more useful, because then you don't have to dismiss all of the morality stuff that's really useful in those great biblical texts. Because some of the things in those books are really useful as stories, as myths, as legends, right? Super useful. And when you have that problem where you go, this is a great religious text, but my rational mind says this is bullshit and there's no way that there's a God who created the world in 7 days. Fuck that. Well, what if it's not a literal explanation, you know? Like, what if it's a figurative explanation and you can actually glean information from the figurative nature of the mythological explanation that's there? Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of people connecting spirituality and modern physics like quantum mechanics? Well, I think our brains are quantum computers, and I think that the quantum state of matter is like fundamentally where we're headed. So I don't know what your question means, because it's a complicated question, but I think it's 100% the truth. I think that as we figure out quantum mechanics, we will understand our universe way better. I've read the Quran and seen that it all holds with scientific tests and all. It's really specific and has no mistakes, actually. Also tells us not to force anyone into religion. So if someone is forcing you, it's wrong. Yeah, we'll see. Kikuri Renon, I think I'll have to agree to disagree with you on this topic. Sorry. Okay, but you'd better have some basis for that, man. Because I've got some background for it. I'll just disagree with, what you're saying is basically, I'll just disagree with all of the biological and spiritual knowledge that we have. All of our knowledge about evolution leads me to this conclusion. So you'd better have some basis to disagree with me. Because otherwise your agreeing to disagree is just cowardice. It's just your unwillingness to speak your untruth against my truth. Or your believed truth against my truth. And I don't mean to be dismissive, but I'm going to be dismissive. Because I've come to these conclusions after some serious research. And so, you know, I've got some solidity to these conclusions and some solidity to my background and framework. Which country do you live in? I think MZ is talking to Kuleres. Iran and Iraq. Yeah, fair enough. Rough. And not in that way. I just have a different view on it, but I cannot explain in a 200 comment limit. Okay, then. Well, then we can't dialogue, which is unfortunate. Because I'd love to dialogue with you, but I just gave a pretty darn concise explanation of why, for example, one hyper inarticulate religious story can be seen from an interesting and valid and viable biological context and used to frame both the religious and the biological in a more humanist and utilitarian way. So if you got an explanation that comes anywhere near the utility that I just presented, I'll listen to it. But if you don't have your shit figured out, then why would I listen to you about your way of being, frankly? Because some of my shit is figured out, and a lot of it is figured out because of the belief systems that I've come to. So I'm happy to be argued against, and I'm happy to hold my beliefs loosely, but you gotta do better than I just can't explain. I love to discuss it, but I don't have access to Discord, unfortunately. That's fine. Just post on a comment. Just post a long-ass comment. There's no comment limit. Write out what you want to write. Write out what you want to write. Write it out seriously. And write it out. Bill DeWitt. Okay, but couldn't we just replace that myth with a more articulate myth? Yes, absolutely. But we need to understand the myths before we can articulate them better. It would need a call to discuss instead of text? Bullshit. No. Bullshit. Text is actually a more effective form of writing. You're just not good enough at it. You seem like you're not capable or willing to discuss this, actually, and looking for excuses is what I'm reading. I'm sorry for being an asshole about this. I recognize that I am being, but it seems like you're just finding excuses to not discuss, instead of discussing, and that's fine. But I agree, I'm not great at typing. Totally okay. But you can just take your time because you have all the time in the world. I am not religious, but I am now really interested, especially after years of being an edgy atheist Richard Dawkins follower. You know, Richard Dawkins is not the most atheisty person that I know, frankly, and has some pretty solid understanding of like religious theory is quite useful. Judge religions by text and not by the followers of the religion is the way that I operated with testing religions. I think the opposite, man. I think the opposite. Judge religions based on the way that the individuals who ascribe to those faiths actually act. Because like people who are genuinely hard believers in Christianity, who aren't swayed by prejudice or evil or stuff, I've met some of the most heartwarming, welcoming, beautiful, wonderful people that I've ever met. Same with true Buddhists and with some serious Hindu folks that I've met. People who've been seriously religious have had some of their shit together. And I've met people who had other ideologies or other portions of religions that were not as together, you know? So I would judge it based on the behaviors and actions of the individuals, because that's the whole point, right? The point of a religion is to determine an effective way of framing the world that leads to an effective way of being. So if the religion leads to an effective way of being, the followers of the religion will be being effectively. To some extent, they'll be happy and have good communities and be healthy and be psychologically effective and to be wise, right? Like and to have a community and to be forging something and to be building and to be having family dynamics and to not have kids that are exploding, right? But what is the meaning of being religious then? Isn't being religious following the religion by some extent? Being religious is exactly following the religion. But it's an embodiment. It's a way of being. Judging religions by text and not the followers of the religion is the way I operated with testing religions. And I'm saying that's not it. I judge them by the way that the followers follow. Do they follow the precepts, first off? If they don't follow the precepts, then the precepts don't work. Right? And you can't just say, well, if people actually followed the precepts, then they would work. Because if you had good precepts, people would follow them inherently. As soon as they knew them, they would go, oh, that's true. I'll just do that for forever. It's like if somebody is cleaning a dish and they're doing it badly and you show them a good way to clean a dish, they'll go, oh, I'm dumb. I'm going to do it the right way every time. Okay? So the indication that a religion is faulty is that the people do not follow its beliefs. Same with a social religion, or a social concept. Communism is a bad social concept because the ideas of communism are something that humans don't follow effectively. And when you tell a bunch of humans to follow them, they don't. They don't, because they're selfish. How does this belief work with religions that have died out? They died. They weren't good enough. That's why, ya boy Mart. They died. Religions are like organic entities. They're like living things. They evolve. Christianity, for example, has two different core paths, right? It's got three. It's got core Catholicism, Protestantism, and Eastern Orthodoxy. And all of those are different. And there have been a bajillion different sects of Christianity, and a bunch of them have failed and died because they didn't work. You know? So if a religion doesn't work, it dies, and it gets stamped out by a religion that works better. And some of that is done brutally and like through crusades and shit. But frankly, the crusades didn't work, right? Like the crusades were to drive out Islam, and it made Islam stronger overall. It killed a ton of people. Not necessarily IMO. Some people fall to their desires. That's what I'm saying. Some do, but a religion that is effective is a religion that handles the problem of desires effectively. That is to say, the people who are seriously Christian or seriously Buddhist or seriously Muslim or seriously, to some extent, I don't know, Sikh or seriously Hindu, they have ways of dealing with their desires that they follow and embody and traditionalize and habitualize and routinize that make them not fall to their desires. And so you can tell that the religion works because the people who are actively embodying and engaging with the religion work. Like literally they go to work instead of just sitting around jerking off all day. Literally that, right? They're literally putting in effort and sacrifice to make their families and their homes work, right? And their general dynamics and their overall well-being, they're literally working. So they figured out a way to not fall to their desires, and that's part of the principles of the religion, is that it has ways to prevent you from falling to your desires and ways of explaining what desires are and how they manifest in your life. Personal intentions, whatever that may be. Yeah, I feel you. I get what you're trying to say. And what I'm saying is a good religion minimizes that. A good faith system is magnetic. It brings people in. It doesn't push them away. And that's one of my huge problems with, I live in a very like hardcore Baptist Protestant region. My little town in Southern California is very hardcore Baptist, and a lot of the youth get pushed far away from Christianity by it because they grow up in the churches, in the hardcore restrictive churches, and they get pushed away. Well, something about the system isn't working, because if it were working, people would want to be a part of it. And so it's wrong. The way that we've structured our religions is false and faulty and flawed, and it hurts people and it pushes them away from faith. And I don't necessarily mean that faith is the thing, but it pushes them away even from the idea that faith could exist. Andre Jabba, my parents were very religious and enforced their views upon me. It partly ruined my social life growing up, and now I'm struggling to compensate for those missed life checkpoints. That's what I'm fucking talking about. And enforcing your religious views onto somebody doesn't work, ever. It just doesn't work. What you want is for them to want to be a part of it. And so you want to make a system and make a society and make a community in your religious spaces, if you have them, or just in your way of being spaces, in your social groups, that is not forced. Yeah, there is a very big difference between people who like to use the shell of religion and those who are actually having strong theistic interest in their own teachings, especially in my country. I hard agree. A lot of people use the shell of religion, and this is like the Catholic idea that you can do whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter. You can just fuck and do drugs and shit all over the place. Yeah, and then you can just repent and you'll be fine. You'll go to heaven. That's not how it works, right? And that's a problem. Some people fall astray because TBH sex is extremely appealing, especially in our age. I agree. Also drugs. Samyak Dar Tuladar. Why do you think successful religions like Christianity, Buddhism, and Hinduism, who you've personally seen have worked, have been replaced with religion or the ideology of nihilism? Well, postmodern deconstructivism is a part of it. And I'll back up so that I'm not just throwing out buzzwords. What I mean is the idea that stories don't have meaning, that anything can be broken down to its base parts, and that any story is as valid and valuable as any other story, means that no stories have value. And so when you look at the greatest stories, the grand religious stories that have been passed down for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, because some of these ancient fairy tales and ancient stories can be traced through oral traditions like 15,000 years old plus, okay? Some of those great stories, you can just look at them and say, if you're a postmodernist and you believe in those theories of critique, you can say, well, it doesn't matter where this came from or what it says. It's no better than Jimmy John went down to the store and fucked as much as he wanted, and that's the story of Jimmy John, and he's the best guy, right? Like, that's a religious story, and that's just as good as the religious story that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and got killed on a cross for the sins of mankind, or whatever, whatever you believe. Or the Buddha was a young man who was withheld from society's ills and then found out about them and sought and sacrificed all of himself to go out and seek and understand the nature of suffering, right? You can shatter those beliefs by just saying no beliefs matter. And that's what the postmodern ideas do. So why have those successful religions fallen apart? Because people don't want to believe in them. Because the idea of believing in religion is considered stupid, because we live in a rationalist world, and it is irrational to believe in religion. But I'll pull this up at the risk of controversy. The first pages of Maps of Meaning explain this perfectly. They really explore this idea in extraordinarily dense framing. And so I'm just going to read you a paragraph, and then we're going to end. The paragraph is this. This is straight from Maps of Meaning. This is immediate and fantastic, and some of the most valuable shit that I know of. Okay, here's how it is. Or here's how this one person sees it, and how I see it as well. The world can be validly construed as a forum for action or as a place of things. The former manner of interpretation, more primordial and less understood, finds its expression in the arts or humanities, in ritual, in drama, in literature, and mythology. The world as a forum for action is a place of value, a place where all things have meaning. This meaning, which is shaped as a consequence of social interaction, is implication for action, or, at a higher level of analysis, implication for the configuration of the interpretive schema that produces or guides action. The latter manner of interpretation, the world as a place of things, finds its formal expression in the methods and theories of science, rationalism. Science allows for increasingly precise determination of the consensually validatable properties of things, and for efficient utilization of precisely determined things as tools, once the direction such use is to take has been determined through application of more fundamental narrative processes. No complete world picture can be generated without use of both modes of construal. The fact that one mode is generally set at odds with the other, rationalism versus faith, you might say, or truth versus story, or object versus meaning. The fact that one mode is generally set at odds with the other means only that the nature of their respective domains remains insufficiently discriminated. Adherents of the mythological worldview tend to regard the statements of their creeds as indistinguishable from empirical fact, even though such statements were generally formulated long before the notion of objective reality emerged. Those who, by contrast, accept the scientific perspective, who assume that it is or might become complete, forget that an impassable gulf currently divides what is from what should be. So we need to know 4 things: what there is, what to do about what there is, that there is a difference between knowing what there is and knowing what to do about what there is, and what that difference is. So, what the fuck did I just read to you, and what did I mean? Okay, so the world can be validly construed as a forum for action or as a place of things. Science teaches us about the place of things. Religion teaches, and story teaches us about the place of action. It says, here's what is arrayed before you in the world. In Kill la Kill, we set out the world stage, right? It's the classroom, it's the rebellion, it's the rebellious space, it's Honoji Gakuen, it's the big town, it's the giant city. That's the world, and there's a bunch of conflict and struggle within it. And you are Ryuko Matoi, a single individual with a quest and a scissor blade and an enemy and a goal and all these things, and you have to figure out how to orient yourself in the world. Versus the place of reality and the place of objects, which is, this is a pen, and it's literally a pen, and when you put a certain compound into the tip of it, it makes green ink, and the stars are literally stars that are literally there, and mass is literally made of matter, and you can literally see it, and you can literally look at it, and it's actually objects, and we can objectively figure out what those objects are. But as much objective figuring as we can do, we can't determine how I know what to do with a water bottle. Because when I see a water bottle, I don't see a plastic container, right? Or a shaker cup. I don't see a plastic container with specific dimensions. I see a tool. I see a thing that relates itself to me based on how it could be used. The fact that I could reach out and grab it. And I literally, in our brain, psychologically, we literally embody that. Pop, poop, pip, pop. MZ says, but what if religion and science go hand in hand? Problem with most religions that these concepts go against each other. That's why I was trying to find in my religious journey, and I found Islam. Yeah, I understand why you would find Islam there, because Islam has some integration with science that's effective. What if religion and science go hand in hand? They do. That's what I just said for the last 10 minutes, was saying exactly that you need both. And what I was saying for the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever I said, when I was talking about how you can use an effective rationalist scientific model to explain precisely, exactly why the religious texts work. If we can go back and comb through our religious texts and explicate them in the rational sense, then we win. Because then we don't have to deal with the fact that they're dismissible as religious, because they're rational as well. If there's a scientific basis for understanding mythology, then we can utilize mythology, which we do anyway, despite being rational. See, it's no fucking symptom. It's no simple thing or obvious thing to say this, but as our religion has died, religion is dead, religion has become alive and well. How? Well, we killed all our myths and we go pure scientific, and it spills out to the outside and we seek myths elsewhere. Where? Media, baby. Media, baby. Why do you think superhero movies are so big? Yeah, it's Maps of Meaning, Senjo Gahara. It's Maps of Meaning. Why do you think superhero movies are so big? It's because they're religious mythologies teaching you how to be. And they're not great, but, but they're good. And they're something. And people fiend for them, man. We live in this rational scientific world, and yet people pay out the ass constantly for Marvel products. They go and they're obsessed with stories, obsessed with anime, obsessed with books, obsessed with Game of Thrones, obsessed with TV shows, obsessed with narratives. Right? So as we become more and more scientific, we become more and more obsessed with all the multifarious ways of mythologizing. But we do so unconsciously. We're not conscious of the importance of the myths that we're watching and consuming. And so they sort of skip off of our brains. And so what I want to do is I want to awaken human beings to the value of myth. And so I literally do that by every day sitting down here and looking at the most potent myths that I can find, which are in anime, because I think they're the most potent myths that I can find, and I talk about why they matter and what I learned from them, and I show people how I look at these things and how they can look at these mythologies in a way that actually changes them. And so what I'm making shonen protagonism a fucking religion. I'm making people believe that their time... Would you say that the popularity of superheroes and shonen anime have the same roots? Yes. Yes, of course it's the same root. It's the hero's journey, man. It's the structure, it's story. It doesn't matter, it's all story. All story has the same roots. All story sets out the world like this. The world exists, there are problems in it. Here's the journey that you go on. It goes down and then up and then around, and that's how you fix anything. Would you argue that modern media is a decent replacement for traditional myths, or would you say it's more of a junk food analogy? It's both. It's both. It's all over the board, ya boy Mart. And that's why it's so crucial to parse it actively, right? Because you can just junk food yourself with trash media all the time. Like do you know any people who watch reality TV as their primary source of media? Well, they're trash people, right? Because they watch trash myths. Or no myths. They watch trash information, okay? Or what about people who doom scroll Instagram all the time and don't even have the attention span to sit down for 20 minutes and watch an anime? How about that? Because that's real, okay? So are they a decent replacement? No, but they can be. And so what I'm trying to do, you have to choose which myths to put in your body. You have to choose which food to put in your body, right? So it's the same way. It's teach people to stay away from the junk food and what junk food means, more importantly, and teach them how to see the value in the myths. See, like, whoa, this is a dense myth. And you look at what's happened on my channel, and that's exactly what's been happening over the past weeks and months, is that the denser myths are getting more views and more intrigue. The dense myths around Mushoku Tensei and around Cyberpunk Edgerunners and Poon Poon are getting a lot of intrigue, you know? A lot of intrigue. So what we're saying is anime is the new religion? Damn right, Bill. Yes, actually. Yes, stories are our religion, and good anime that's well thought through is the best thing that I've found. I mean, really, here's my question to you, Bill DeWitt. Here's my question to all of you. But who ultimately decides between which are correct and not? Just numbers isn't always correct. No, it's not numbers. Fuck numbers. No, you decide, Kikuri. You idiot. Because you're an idiot, right? You're just one idiot person. There are 8 billion of us. You decide what's important. You put your attention and knowledge and trust in it. And you believe in it, and you go and you purchase symbols of it, and you go and you purchase copies of it so that you can hold on to it, and you share it and tell your friends about it, and you decide which is correct. So I need to decide to help show you how the tools you need to have the scissor blade that determines what is true and what is false. Because you need your own scissors. You need your own ability to parse the world, to cut it up into what is good and what is bad. Your own ability. And that's what I'm trying to give you. And I can give it to you by acting as an example, a failing example, because I'm flawed and an idiot too, right? I'm an idiot, but I'm a different idiot from you. And so you can watch my idiocy and steal part of it that you like and throw away the part that you don't like. Spiritual nutrition and a vital spiritual diet. That's what T is talking about. Strong work here. Exactly. You need a spiritual diet of stories. You need a spiritual diet of stories. Jan Nikovsky says, I wonder how the religion that's based on shoujo would look like. I gotta search it up. I think it would be very beneficial for me as a girl. Yes, go seek out the shoujo narrative. And Jan Nikovsky, when you find out, please let me know, because I'm desperate to find out what that would look like. What is it that is the mythology for young women? Because I've got a theory. My theory is that the best female narrative that I know of right now that I'm aware of right now is in Disney, and it's Beauty and the Beast. So far, that's the best female narrative that I'm aware of. The other narrative, the older narrative, is Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, and they're not as good. Because Sleeping Beauty, she's just asleep, and the Prince Charming comes and awakens the sleeping feminine with his masculine kiss, and yada yada, and good for them. And it's a good myth. It's a strong one. That's a good one for the sleeping feminine, but you're not the sleeping feminine, right? Because you're already awake, Jan. Like a little bit, you're awake. So here's your myth. It's Beauty and the Beast, I think. Because Beauty and the Beast is the myth that's like, I will, MZ. Beauty and the Beast, every day at 10 a.m., MZ. Literally, every day, 10 a.m., the Daily Brew is streamed every day. Some would argue Beauty and the Beast is just Stockholm Syndrome. Fucking wrong. So stupid. That's such a stupid dismissal of the most complicated story, like, ever. Fuck off. Absolutely bullshit. Stockholm Syndrome? She goes and finds him, dude. What are you talking about? Like, what are you actually talking about? She goes to him, right? Beauty and the Beast goes like this. There's a cute girl who's trying to have a good life, okay? Her name is Belle. She's the best girl in town, and she's got her shit together to some extent. Everybody in town says, hey, you should fuck this Gaston guy. He's the best, okay? Why? Well, he's what everybody says is the thing that the woman should go for. He's got all the looks, he's got all the abs, he's got a 6-foot-long pee-pee, and he's got money, and he's handsome, and he's all these things, and everybody likes him. And he's very arrogant and bold and confident. He's the Chad McChaddington, right? He's the Uber McChaddinator. And by MZ, he's the Uber McChaddinator, and everybody says you should date him. And Belle goes, I don't really like him very much. And she goes out and she seeks out the weird dude, who is literally a monster, okay, right? So he's ugly, is what we would say. He's ugly to most of the world. The world rejects him. He's ugly. But he's also interesting, and he's got his own pursuits and his own desires. He's got his own complicated relationship with the feminine that's, like, not great, because he's got the whole problem that he's done with the deals that he's made. But he's got some friends around him. He's mostly lonely, but he's got his awakened friends in the household that he's in. And so that's something. And he's got some of his shit in order. And what is her story? Her story is she goes out and she finds the monstrous, beastly, animalistic man, and she tames his ass. She tames his dumb fucking ass using her feminine wiles. So she, an awakened female, it's the opposite of Sleeping Beauty, because he's the sleeping male, and he's turned into a beast, a monster, because he's the sleeping male. He's just in his castle, right? She goes to his castle, she forces her way in, she cleans up some of his shit, and she forces him to clean up the rest of his shit. And what happens? Well, eventually she falls for him. And in the moment of her falling for him, what does it do? It turns him from a monster into a Prince Charming, into a beautiful Prince Charming. Why? Well, religiously, I mean, literally in the story there are justifications for it, but who gives a shit about those? What about religiously or theoretically or spiritually? Here's why. The answer is that when you as a woman find the aspects of a man who you don't necessarily find immediately attractive, you find the aspects of him that are human and core and manly and princely, and you foster them and build them and help him become less of a beast, he will become beautiful to you, regardless of his physical attraction, in part because women are less attuned to physical attraction than men. So here's your story for women. The story for women is, ignore all the omega chads that all your friends are dying over. Ignore them. Go find a man who's got potential, but who's a bit of a monster, and then tame his ass by being female. Because we had a conversation a little while ago about the treat reward system. Well, here's the biggest, most powerful treat reward that a young man can get. It's the attention and affection of a woman. And I don't mean sexual. I mean literally any approval from a woman makes a young man's whole spine tingle. Just like, ah. It's why young men don't approach young women too. It's because they're terrified of the opposite of that, which is rejection. Which is that when an attractive woman rejects you and you're a young man, it makes your gut sink down into your feet. It makes your balls shrivel. It's like the worst. So here's what you can do. You can intentionally and evilly and manipulatively, for a good purpose, you can manipulate the human beings around you via your attention. If you give them attention, when they do things that you like, they will do more of the things that you like. And when you don't give them attention, when they do things you don't like, they will to some extent cease doing it, as long as you're communicative about it. But really, it's the positive reinforcement that I'm talking about. Give attention to the men in your life when they do things that you approve of. And specifically, if the men in your life around you in any way make strides to be nice or kind to you, or seemingly chivalrous or generous or whatever, give them a thumbs up. Go give them a smile, right? Because the smile of a young woman will really, like, it'll make their spine tingle and their butt pucker. Really, you'll fuck with young men hugely, and they will fall head over heels for you. But more importantly, they will fall in love, not with you, but with the concept of doing things properly. So, for example, if you're like genuinely, this is a stupid one because I don't like when people hold doors for me, and so I understand when girls don't like when people hold doors for them, right? But if a guy tries to be nice and he's just trying it on, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, right? And he's not trying to be a misogynist asshole, but he tries to like pull out your chair for you on a date, right? Or hold a door open for you, or walk on the one side of the road instead of the other. Say explicitly that you appreciate that he did that, and then give him a really big smile. And maybe like a pat on the shoulder, or like break physical disconnect, right? You will flood his brain with a bunch of positive chemicals, and he will always, for the rest of his life, he will always go and pull out chairs for women, and he will always hold doors open for people, and he will always walk on the side of the road, and he'll always offer his jacket, right? And all these things are dumb and misogynist, and I know, I don't care. What I'm saying is, any behavior you want to encourage in the people around you, if you're a young woman and they're men, any behavior that you want to encourage, all you have to do is encourage it. All you have to do is be aware of when it happens and then encourage it, and it'll work. It'll work, as far as I can tell. Beauty and the Beast is one of my most favorite Disney stories among my friend group. Very interesting. When I was young, I really didn't get it. That is the case with so many mythologies. And as your perspective has changed, it's very important to go back and rewatch those myths so that you can re-cement and go through all the neural pathways that you've built around them and go like, because you might have watched Beauty and the Beast when you were 13 and been like, fun story, dancing and beasts and stuff, and yay. And then you watch it again when you're 23 and you're like, oh, I am Belle. I am Belle, and I will identify as. It's like, you might actually do that, and it might change your life. So go do it. Go watch all the Disney stories and evaluate them as best as you can. Like, The Lion King is Hamlet, and it's one of the best stories ever told, and it's like near perfect. Those stories are excellent, exceptionally good stories. And so are some good animes, the Trigger shows. Gurren Lagann is my favorite religion. Girls that don't like others holding doors for them, is that another US thing? Don't get the logic behind not liking simple courtesy. Yeah, no, exactly. It's an illogical thing. It's some weird shit. It's the idea that the girl feels like you're saying that she couldn't do it herself, and so it's like you need to do it for them. Yoshiko Tsushima, what do you mean you don't like people holding doors open for you? I mean, I often have to run to catch up because people hold the door for too long, and so it makes my life harder, not easier. But it's just that it feels like it's an imposition, even if it's chosen by the person. It feels like it's an imposition on them that I don't want to cause. That said, I don't act like they're hurting me by holding the door. I do exactly that. I still try to encourage the behavior. I give them a big smile and I go, thanks. And sometimes I'll make a joke with them, and I'll joke and be like, haha, I've stolen your door holding. Yes. And like, go in front of them in line or whatnot, etc. Speaking from my retail experience, it's the older women who have mastered those lessons, and it works, lol. Maybe half of younger women I've interacted with had little concept of those behaviors. 100%. And when you meet and interact with people who are capable of this, you immediately, for me, I'm very conscious of people's actions, partly because I'm a little bit autistic, just slightly. And so I'm very conscious of the actual direct aspects of what they're doing. So I'm watching them, and man, there's a huge difference. Kikuri Renon, would you prefer people to watch Disney or the original Grimm's Tales? Disney. They're more refined. And accessible, and that's part of the point. Part of the point is that you have to be able to intake the story. It's like fiber is good, but eating cardboard is not. That's what I would say. Kikuri. Fiber is good, but eating cardboard is not. And for the modern myths, the Disney versions are much more accessible, and they're also couched in beautiful art. Because the artistic talent and artistic value of the Disney stories and the Disney films is gorgeous. It's really stunning. And so that stunningness of it is like the stunningness that you get when you step into a cathedral. Because if you step into a cathedral, right, like that's... And that's supposed to give you that feeling of whoa, and that feeling of awe, and that feeling of religious ecstasy almost is important for altering your worldview. And so watching a Disney mythology in a movie that gives you that actually gives it to you. That's why I can never make too much fun of Chuny. People might act embarrassingly, but they fully believe in something, no matter how fantastical. They really try to embody characters and stories. I agree, and I think that Chunyism is just a stuck point. It's just a stuck point, right? It's just that they got stuck on the part where they're embodying the thing and trying it on. It's like every 12-year-old fake sword fights, like with their friends. but you either become a sword fighter or you stop fake sword fighting with your friends, right? And so being a chuny is like, I have a demon inside of me. It's like, yeah, you do, actually. That's a good thing to realize. But acting like, I have a demon inside of me and that makes me special is not the way to be, because it doesn't actually make you that special. You just need to figure it out, man, right? Like, you need to integrate with your demon and integrate with the shadow, and then the chuny stuff will go away. So have your fun with it now in the present. I don't mind. Like, but don't get stuck there forever. It's like, have your fun exploring, well, that would be a thing to say. I think it's probably important in your 20s to have your fun exploring partying and drugs, right? Like, really getting out there and fucking and being with a bunch of different people and trying relationships with a bunch of different people seems really important, but you shouldn't be doing that when you're 40 as well. Because if you hit 40 and you're still going out partying every night, or every week, and you're still fucking different people. I mean, first off, if you are capable of it, interesting. But if you're still fucking different people every week, you're missing something. You've gotten stuck. Because there are stages beyond that people have for thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of years moved into. And there's a pretty traditional line where, and a pretty good history of people partying in their 20s, getting their work together in their late 20s and early 30s, and then starting a family and becoming fulfilled via their family and the continuation of the human species as they hit their 30s into 40s. Okay? So you probably, not for everybody, but you probably want to align your life path with that sort of a path. Okay? So your 20s, party and get all your shit together. Figure stuff out, experiment, explore, go crazy. In your 30s, start locking it in and start seeking out real relationships and real connections and real friendships and some stability, and start nesting a little bit and build out a house and build out a home and build out the habits that are necessary to take care of those. And then as you're heading through your 30s, move into, especially for women who have a biological timer on this, have some kids and have them healthy. You know, get as healthy as you can by 30. And then between 20 and 35, have kids. That's where I'm headed. I'm gonna in the next couple of years, unless things go really poorly, I'm gonna find a really spectacular. Well, first off, I'm gonna fuck around a lot because I haven't had enough time fucking around. So I'm gonna fuck around and I'm gonna get the dick wet, if you will, and experience some of the world a little bit differently. And then I'm gonna travel, and then I'm gonna find a really spectacular woman, and I'm going to make her fall in love with me. And I'm going to fall the fuck in love with her too. And then we're going to have kids. And that's my goal. Something like that. Get addicted to drugs and have a dozen kids does not set you up in life. No, it does not. What are your favorite Disney films? I don't know. There's a bunch. I always let other guys help me. It feels nice for me and for the guy. Absolutely. And I think that's excellent. Ever watched Watership Down? Yeah, horrifying. Excellent. Read the books, too. Yeah, at the end of the day, I want to reproduce at some point. Some things should not just be done just to do them. Doing drugs and having random sex is not something to go out and do. Well, it's not something to just go out and do as if I'm saying it flippantly, but it is something that everybody will go out and do. And to try to prevent it backfires. It backfires. What you do is you set up your children with the skills that they need to not become addicts. And then you let them explore. You let them do dangerous things and climb cliffs. And you go, yep, they could fall off the cliff, but if you just keep them and you prevent them from ever climbing, well, what the fuck are you doing to your kid? They're never going to climb. Something should not be done just to do them. Doing drugs and having random sex is not something to just go out and do. I fully disagree, actually. I think doing drugs and having random sex, if you do them properly and you're not using the hard drugs, cocaine, heroin, major opiates, methamphetamines, and other things that are truly destructive to your whole body in every possible way, you should absolutely go and experiment with as many things as you possibly can. To do otherwise is cowardly. It's cowardly and puritanical, and it doesn't work. Now, I agree that having the random sex doesn't work super well because it has lasting impacts on your dopaminergic function and your sex hormone function. But I think that's way healthier than being Puritan and restrictive and repressive. It doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm I'm going to stop the brew here for today. We've had 40 solid concurrent viewers over the course of the day as we've been going through, and it's been excellent. However, we are moving toward 1 p.m., and I really wanted to record something today, and I'm going to be really pissed if I don't record it. So I'm going to go take my cold-ass shower, and then I'm going to record something, and we shall see how it goes, and I'll see y'all in a bit. Thanks for checking out this brew, and we'll humu. Yes, indeed. We should include these life stage ideas in the basics. Yeah. What are you recording today? You'll see. Or not. I don't know. I'm not going to make any promises that I might not be able to keep. So we will see. Thanks, everybody. See you next time for more. And see you tomorrow for the Daily Brew.